in a tunebybeer.com.
Papi, why you coming for your breathing like that?
My daughter. Hey, my daughter, yeah. The old people can say that curiosity kill the cow. Why you no problem again?
Papi, I really don't have problem. But the way you breathing, sir, it's like you're running so well.
My daughter, yaka. If I give you the little G's, you yourself will be running to the same player running. So you just hold it there.
Papi, Papi, play on me now, lay on me. You know I your daughter too now.
My daughter, guess what? I had to run away from Wego. Yaka. Tuesday and Thursday, they got one show in town, they call it Logan's Hour. Man, that ball can talk the thing that are happening in Indiana. Even when you steal, even you doing wrong thing, the ball will talk it. You doing the right thing, the ball will praise you.
For real, Papi? No, that kind of thing that we want you all time, yo.
My daughter, I'm telling you, let me tell you now, Logan's Hour come on every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock p.m. And when you want to watch Logan Hour, you gotta be on time, or else you will watch the show after the show. But guess what?
What, Papi?
Just go to Facebook and subscribe to Logan Hour. You go to YouTube, you subscribe to Logan Hour. Anytime Logan Hour coming on, you will get notification. That the notification made me running at the door, my daughter, because I won't be laying back in my living room, man, and get ready to call on that show.
Papi, thank you so much for the information. But I see Tommy walking, coming it out. I don't know if I ate he looking at too. Oh, Tommy!
Oh, what's that? What you calling my name like that for? What you calling my name like that for? Take your time and you there. I'm watching my Looking Hour. Don't that distract me, yo. Wait now. If you ain't got what to do right now, we're already enjoying ourselves. You better get involved with the fries, girl. Tommy? So that today, Papi was telling me that something? I won't look for look.
In a tunebybeer.com.
Papi, why you coming for your breathing like that?
My daughter. Hey, my daughter, yeah. The old people can say that curiosity kill the cow. Why you no problem again?
Papi, I really don't have problem. But the way you breathing, sir, it's like you're running so well.
My daughter, yaka. If I give you the little G's, you yourself will be running to the same player running. So you just hold it there.
Papi, Papi, play on me now, lay on me. You know I your daughter too now.
My daughter, guess what? I had to run away from Wego. Yaka. Tuesday and Thursday, they got one show in town, they call it Logan's Hour. Man, that ball can talk the thing that are happening in Indiana. Even when you steal, even you doing wrong thing, the ball will talk it. You doing the right thing, the ball will praise you.
For real, Papi? No, that kind of thing that we want you all time, yo.
My daughter, I'm telling you, let me tell you now, Logan's Hour come on every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock p.m. And when you want to watch Logan Hour, you gotta be on time, or else you will watch the show after the show. But guess what?
What, Papi?
Just go to Facebook and subscribe to Logan Hour. You go to YouTube, you subscribe to Logan Hour. Anytime Logan Hour coming on, you will get notification. That the notification made me running at the door, my daughter, because I won't be laying back in my living room, man, and get ready to call on that show.
Papi, thank you so much for the information. But I see Tommy walking, coming it out. I don't know if he looking at too. Oh, Tommy! Tommy!
Oh, what's that? What you calling my name like that for? What you calling my name like that for? Take your time and you get. I'm watching my looking hour. Don't that distract me, yo. Wait now. If you ain't got what to do right now, we're already enjoying ourselves. You better get involved with the fries, girl. Tommy, so today, Papi was telling me that something? I want to look for looking hour, yeah. Papi, thank you. Thank you for telling me about looking hour.
My daughter, that ain't there. Don't say I'll tell you. Bye.
All right. Welcome again. Welcome to another edition of the Logan's Hour. Today promises to be a very great edition. To those of you following us for the first time, I want to say welcome. Today is another great edition. And those of you who have never followed us before, want to say you also welcome. And remember, you are on the Logan's Hour. And let me reduce my echo. My daughter always messy with my mixer, so you just gotta expect that. Hold on just a second, just a split second. Uh, well, everybody hear me very well. So today, tell somebody that Logan Hours is on, and you can go to YouTube or you can also go to Facebook to get us. And on YouTube, we are Logan Hour. On Facebook, we are also Logan Hour. So I'm setting up my gadget. You know, I love to be watching myself at the same time while I'm here. But for those of you who just joined us, I want to say thank you for joining us again today. And one of our sisters just reached out to us, and they having this uh, issue about April 6th. So the title is April 6th. So it's a reflection. So they're trying to reflect on April 6th, recognizing. So the theme is processing the significance of April 6th on Liberian history and mental health. So today we will have them here. Today they will be talking more about this issue. She reached out to me and she said this is a program that they have the flyer coming up. The flyer have been in the Liberian group chat. I think I saw Fatima Fambule also. She has spread the flyer again, and we have all of the panelists here. So today we will have with Melissa and Joe Sao. They are the hosts. They will be on this program here shortly. I will just have to send the link shortly. They will join us. And for those of you who just joining us today, we will spice it up because we have some other issues to discuss here. So I want to say, my Annie, welcome to the Logan's Hour, my dear brother Jeremiah Sele. Welcome again, my dear brother, my own sister-in-law Faye. Welcome. Sis Isabella, I want to say welcome. Fasia Hilton, Bernice Alpha, and all of you who just joining us here, I want to say welcome. We truly appreciate you people. You people are the real deal. Because of you, we are here. So we want to say thank you for joining the Logan's Hour and thank you for making this place your own. And I have Melissa and her colleague will be joining us shortly to discuss the issue about the April 6th. Then from Melissa, we will get back into our community. We have the press conference that the Secretary General put up, Mr. Rawa Kiri. And don't miss this press conference because it is interesting. And trust me, it will get juicy. It will get juicy at the end of the show because some of the appointments on here, we are not discussing the individuals, but we are discussing the appointment. And I think we will be trying because the other day I posted in the community chat, I said cronyism, and somebody said, "Oh, what do you mean?" I will define it here today, and I will tell you why we have a creeping sign of protectionism. So we will discuss all of that here today on today's program, and we will talk about the positions. Those positions that people occupy, they are necessary, but we think that those people that have been asked to fill these positions are not the rightful candidates for these positions because we're trying to evolve one family rules or family ruling in government. So we will discuss that. We will break it down to the point. So today going to be a very interesting program. Trust me, it's going to be so interesting at the end of the program. So stick and still, don't go away because today, trust me, we will release the fire from our belly and discussing the issues as it unfolds when it has to do with our community. So the community of this area is all we have. And so anytime we come here, we will discuss about the Liberian community. So I want to say, Orita Poto Joe, thank you for joining us. And my dear brother say he agree with me. I want to let him hear for they may get fire in his belly too. So they may say he agree with me. Yeah, today we're going to release the fire from our belly here. This is a organization that we're running, and in our much we decided to make it to be like the democratic form of government. We will not condone the president trying to shield himself. So that's a sign of protectionism. The president looking for people that he know, people that he believes that they are trusted. And we're not going to do that in here. Trust me, we're not going to do that in here. Today we're going to discuss it. We will not allow husband and wife to be both chair on committees. That ain't going to work. Today fire will be real. And trust me, if you're thinking I'm joking, wait till the people leave. The people program, they will only be here talking about it for like 20 minutes and 30 minutes. They're going to be out of here. And when they leave, we're going to come back to our community. We're going to come back to our community. We're going to tell my dear friend and brother, Mr. Julius K. Parker, if you cannot lead, you have to leave. But we will not agree that you be bringing people to shield yourself. You bring the husband, you bring the wife, you take the other person, you just doing family in government, ain't going to work. We have to make this thing diverse. Other people in the community here can serve, and they are willing to serve. So we are not going to be doing one set of people. It ain't going to work here. So today, it's going to be tough. Trust me, it's going to be tough. So I'm going to take these people who coming on here right now. I'm going to take them for like 30 minutes. And from there, we will come back to the Liberian community. And today, the Liberian community is going to be tough. So those of you who want to hear more, join us. And we have some revelation as well. We will be, if possible, breaking some news here as well. So so it's gonna be real. They're gonna be real. So anyway, I'm going to mute my WhatsApp on my computer here because my WhatsApp trying to be disturbing here now. So those of you who joining us for the first time, I want to say thank you. And those of you who don't know, today's program is the Logan's Hour. And today, Logan Hour is going to be so great. You're going to enjoy it because we're going to talk about all the issues unfold. So if I step on any toes, I want to say I'm sorry. If I will step on any toes, I want to say I'm sorry. I want to apologize before time because we want to discuss the issues as it unfolds. Today's program will be about our sisters who will be joining us shortly, our sister and our brother. They're going to talk more about reflecting on April 6th, the significance of reflecting on April 6th. We're going to ask them all the necessary questions. And you know how we roll here, some of you. Put your question in the comment section. At the end of the program, you also have the opportunity to call in as well. And when they leave, we would go into our own issue here as well. So for those of you who don't know how we do it here, we want to say this is the Logan's Hour, and we are happy to have you here. And trust me, we'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, sorry. That's a hot mic. I have Jeremiah Silly. Jeremiah, sorry, that's a hot mic. I'll call you back, brother. Jer. Welcome again. Welcome back to the Logan's Hour. So those of you who just joining us, if you don't know, you are on the Logan's Hour, and we have our sister with us, Melissa. Melissa reached out to me, and she would love to talk more about. They have a penny program coming out that has to do with the April 6th. Some of you who were babies, or some of you who don't know about April 6th, 1996, that was a serious time in our country history that none of us want to ever have that reflection to talk about issues that happened during the April 6th, 1996. And some of you who heard about Roosevelt, Johnson, and all the other people who came lately, and our sisters and brothers, they have taken the courage to show some reflection on that. So today we have Melissa here. So they have a banner or flyers that have been going up in the group chat. It's on Facebook as well. It says remembering April 6th in Liberia. So there's a whole panel discussion. So we have our brother Joe Saulo. He already here. And Melissa Cape. Melissa is also here with us. So we're just going to have them here for at least 25 or 30 minutes. Some of you who following us, I see Professor Willie Pilley just joined us. Professor Willie Pilley, if you love to join the conversation to ask Melissa and Joe some of the questions as well, go in our group chat. I already sent a link there as well, so you people can make it more interesting. You can ask them more questions when it comes to April 6, 1996, or maybe if I get in the year wrong, they are here. They have done sufficient research, so they will drive us through why this is important at this moment. So let me bring Melissa in first because she reached out to me. Then she connected Joe on this conversation. So those of you who in Indiana today, it is a privilege to have with us our sister Melissa.
Hi, hello. How are
How
you
you
doing?
doing, Melissa? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for allowing me to utilize your platform to talk about such an important event um, happening on Thursday.
Thank you so much, my dear sister. So let's bring our brother Joe in. Joe is pretty seated in the back here now. So let's get Joe. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Yeah, hello, how y'all doing? All right, my man.
Oh
One
my
thing I
God.
love about you, I love the way you can pronounce our name. I said,
My
correct, like
man,
one man for you.
but Joe, the way when you see LeBron needing about, you know that our area, brother. So
But maybe, yeah,
yeah.
this is goofy, yeah.
My man, thank you so much, man. Melissa, I want to say a very big thank you to the both of you by stepping up, having the courage to host the panel discussion. That is what's the date here again? What's the date for the panel discussion? I'm looking for it on the flyer here.
It's
Uh,
going to be
April,
Oh, April 6th, 2023.
so
April
Thursday.
6th. Yeah, so it's 2 days from now. So it's on Thursday, right?
Hmm.
All right, Melissa, let's go. Just introduce yourself to the people who following us. And those of you who following us, if you don't know, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. Some of you who watching on YouTube as well. Some of you who watching on all the platforms that we have. This is Melissa and Jody here to talk about April 6th. What happened April 6th, 1996. So some of you who are baby and don't never had the opportunity to know what happened, listen today. They are here. Melissa, let's go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you. So hi everyone. My name is Marlissa Carpe. I am a Liberian American artist, art teacher, and a founder of a nonprofit that uses creativity to provide healing. And pretty much this event just kind of came together as a collaboration with Joe to kind of just provide a space for our people to discuss the tragedies of April 6th in a way that is more healing and therapeutic. I believe we don't have many opportunities and spaces to engage in those type of conversations, right? Like if you look at America, we talk about 9/11 all the time.
Mhm.
Holocaust too. We talk about these significant and tragedy events, right, as a form of healing and moving forward. Within our community, I felt like there was just a lack of talking about April 6th. So Joe and I worked together to create this event that's happening on Thursday, as a way to process those things. Now let Joe continue.
Okay, Joe. Let's hear from you. You're muted. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, now just adding on to what Marlissa said. So like we understand that April 6th just kind of serves as some would say why you choose April 6th and not other situations of the war, right? But
Mhm.
April 6th just really served us like that touch point that allowed us to dive into a deeper discussion. So we know that there's been over 2 million Liberians that's been displaced, giving the crisis. We like to say crisis now as opposed to the Civil War because it's more of a political term,
It's true.
right? And with that, you have a generation of young Liberians like myself, or even younger, who some that were born in diaspora, some that were born in Liberia but didn't get to experience the war. And then you also have the generation of, I would say, older generation, my parents' generation, my grandparents' generation, who lived that, right? Who, because of the war, um, left their respective villages, went to Liberia. I mean, went to Monrovia. Then when April 6th happened, it was like we're not even safe here, and we're going somewhere else. So that's why you've seen people have migrated to neighboring countries, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, um, Togo, et cetera, Ivory Coast, and then have came back. Or we have Liberians all in the diaspora, right? A lot of times we look at the states. Uh, but then we have Liberians in the European countries, in Australia and Canada, even a few in Mexico as well. All right. So it's essentially just like, how can we, one, touch on that point, right? So one of the things that we talked about is we have that trauma, as a country, as a nation, and we're consistently trying to better ourselves. One of the things I love about being Liberian is that we love being Liberians. We love to represent. Anywhere you go, somebody representing a country. One Liberian there, he will pull for.
Oh
Why?
yeah,
Because we know how hard we represent, right?
it's
So
true.
with that being said, okay, cool. How can we continue to move forward without really talking about the past? So,
Mhm.
as Melissa said, as you mentioned, we have some great therapists. We have some great panelists to discuss their own personal story, ranging from somebody that was only 6 to 8 years old during like the April 6th tragedy, versus
Mhm.
others who were much older and teenagers or adults during that time, right? And one of the key things that we wanted to do is create a situation where we have therapists to talk about it, because within African households, within Black households, African households, Liberian households, we don't talk about the effect of it as much. Or why are you crying for, man? Shut up, if I give you something to cry about, right?
Yeah.
So we brought two strong Liberian mental health therapists to talk about, one, trauma, how the effects of war, the effects of tragedy, the effects of pain can affect generations. Two, we're talking about what that looks like, right, in the country now, right? Three, and also what does that looks like for generations. But more importantly, we want to attach that with the healing perspective. If trauma is passed on generationally, but so is resilience, right? And that's why when we see Liberians, we love to celebrate, we love good time, we love to enjoy, because sometimes we're hiding from the trauma that we face, but other times, my man, right now I work hard all week. I want to go celebrate. So,
True.
just to bring it back, we really just want to put something together to want to celebrate our country, touch on some tough subjects that we kind of just shun under the rug a lot of times, but leave on a feeling that we're gonna be okay.
Hmm. That's a pretty one. That's a pretty one. So, Melissa, let's go back to you. You talk about how this has to do with mental health. Connect us.
So we're look when how it has to do with mental health is about political violence and how
Mhm.
political violence affects generations, right? So you have the younger generation who experience April 6th at a young age, right? And don't really have any context of what exactly happened, right? But
Mhm.
then you have their parents who were deeply involved, right?
Mhm.
And some of that trauma in which they've experienced then also goes into how the child is raised, right? It's that PTSD
Yeah.
aspect, right? So when
Mhm.
we look at younger Liberians or we look at youth, right? They're dealing with things that they didn't really experience, right? But
It's
their
true.
parents experienced or they were too young to experience. right? And when we talk about healing the families, like Liberian families, and moving forward and developing Liberia, we have to talk about the family systems, right? We have to talk about the things that have affected us as people. And so that trauma aspect is very important when you consider how do we move forward as people.
Okay. Okay. So those of you following us, if you love to ask them questions, you can put your question in the comment section or the little time they here for. I'll open the line as well if you love to call in and ask a question. That will also be helpful. So Joe, you got anything to say to what Melissa was just saying? If you want to add to that.
Uh, um, adding on is this she touched on something that was like really powerful, right? In terms
Mhm.
of, hey, like we wanted to touch on trauma,
It's
right?
true.
And let's look at it from my perspective, right? So I'm a young Liberian that was born in Liberia.
Mhm.
I had to um, I was born in Liberia during the Civil War, but
Mhm.
I didn't live in Liberia. I My family sought refuge in neighboring countries. We stay in Guinea, we stay in Ivory Coast, um, and a couple other places like I don't even know Ghana included before coming to America, right?
Mhm.
So I lived in Liberia for 1 year. I know nothing of the country besides of what I read and see on television.
It's
In
true.
2016, um, as an adult, in my 20s now, as an adult, I got a little bit of money. I
Mhm.
graduated college. I said, all right, let me go see this Liberia here, right? And when I went to Liberia, I seen in firsthand, and I saw as Melissa, who likes grammar, would tell me that like I got to witness what Liberia is like in the present and what the effects of the war is. I'm there visiting the first 5-star hotel in Africa. I'm traveling the same streets that the CNN, BBC used to talk about. I'm traveling
Yeah.
the same streets that Malcolm X, Kwame Nkrumah, right,
Mhm.
went to Liberia to see how to establish a West African country before going to Ghana. We see what Ghana is today. I'm learning that in 1980, in the 80s, the Liberian currency was a dollar for dollar,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
We were up to par.
I went to Liberia, $1 giving me 180 liberty, right?
Mhm.
And so these are all the effects that I got to see personally because of the war, because of events like April 6th. But my older generations got to see what it was like before that, and what caused that gap, and why don't we talk about what caused that gap? Right? There's an entire population of Liberians that were never educated
Sure.
because of that particular gap. So what does that mean? That means that all of the infrastructure that we had set up prior to that gap happening is gone. So in 2006, while we are a nation since 1847, we're essentially like a brand new country again because all of that infrastructure, that foundation is gone. But
Mhm.
yet we like to compare Liberia to other countries, blah blah blah, doing this and that. So yet again, it's really just coming back to let's understand what happened. Yeah, we know the war happened, but why the war happened? Where were you when the war happened? Let's talk about it. What makes you you? So
The
like,
root
if I was
cause.
to ask you, like, if I may ask my friend, how old are you? Not to
Oh,
put age in the world, but how old are you, my man?
me?
Yeah,
51.
look at that
I'm serious.
guy. Right? You 51 years old for real?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I was to ask you or your audience, like, where were you during April 6th?
I'm in Liberia.
Okay,
I'm
so
in Monrovia.
you start thinking about it,
Yeah.
right? And it starts triggering those feelings like, man, like I remember being there, right?
Mhm.
So if since I asked you that question, talk to me. Like, where were you doing April 6th and what do you remember about it?
A whole lot. That was one of the shortest and most dirtiest war ever fought in Liberia. Yes, that brought in Roosevelt, Johnson, and all the warring faction because the new April 6 wasn't going to continue. So they used that short period to carry on more atrocities compared to the longer period of the war. April 6 was the most dirty war. That's why when you talk about April 6, it trickles me because I knew that a lot of people who watching this program or who has been affected by April 6, it makes some of them cry because they lost their loved ones and they carry their minds back to how they were towing their children and crossing over dead bodies and running from because it was senseless. It was very senseless. So that's why when Melissa first contacted me about April 6th, when I saw the flyer the first time, I'm like, whoa, this brings back memory. But what is the end goal? What do you guys want to achieve after having these panel discussions?
So the end point, and thank you for sharing your story. So we're aware that that might be the case for a lot of
Mhm,
people, right?
mhm,
We want to kind of invite our Liberian people to notice trauma in the body. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, right? Your
mhm,
body keeps a score of the traumatic events that you experience, right? And when we look at when we look at our Liberian communities and we look at things that trigger us in our communities, right? We're not realizing that those triggers are coming from that traumatic experience,
mhm,
right? And so we suppress those feelings, right? For some of us, we suppress those feelings and it helps us, right? But then for some of us, we suppress those feelings and we don't deal with it and we don't really come to a conclusion within ourselves about what happened, right? So the whole point of this event is to kind of discuss it on a more lighter surface
mhm,
while also having the mental health providers there to again tell you how to even find trauma in your body, right? How do you know the way that you're responding to your fellow Liberian man is not coming from a is it coming from a place of trauma, right?
mhm,
Because the effects of the war have affected how Liberians communicate and how we
true,
interact with one another.
true.
And so you have Liberians in ways that I've seen it, I've noticed where you have people who have difficulties with power struggles, right?
Mhm,
They, don't want this person to be at this level because this person is from this tribe or they're from this place, right? So all those concepts, right, all
mhm,
stem from the trauma in which they've experienced, right? So how do you find it in your body and recognize, oh, this is a trauma response because of the things I've experienced, right? And
mhm.
connect with it, notice it, right? And then be able to move forward, right? And that's the whole point of having our mental health providers available to help guide and provide resources for a lot of Liberians.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Joe, you want to chip in?
It kind of hard to follow though because you know the girl's training to be a therapist, so she has that. But it's like let's talk about some of the ways that I've seen members in my family, older generation, uh, raise their kids. So we live in America,
Mhm,
and America has half the guns. 80% of the world gun violent, but we have like half the gun population in the world, right?
mhm.
We just saw that in Florida, they just passed. You're allowed to carry a concealed gun without having a concealed carry. So in America, we consistently, and I'm saying we like the entire country, consistently advocate for the right to bear arms. Now, when my cousin went to tell his mom he wanted to buy a gun for protection, her mind automatically ran to her running from rebels when she was in Liberia because they had guns,
It's true.
right? There was older. I remember being in. I think I was like young in middle school, elementary school at the time, right?
Mhm,
And we used to carry around these big books. And I remember like a book dropping in elementary school, and my teacher at the time, who was a Vietnam veteran, he like cowered. Like I shouldn't use the word coward, excuse me. He just like started like shivering and shaking because he's thinking about his time during the Vietnam War, and like he wanted to kind of hide behind a desk and things like that, right? And we talk about PTSD for
mhm.
somebody who who was in the war for a year, right? But
Yeah,
there's an
right.
entire generation of Liberians, right, who lived through the war for multiple years. We talk about PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. That's real for them.
It's
There's
true.
members in my family like where fireworks goes off every July 4th cause pain points. I mean, eventually you kind of learn to separate it,
Mhm,
but like in the back of your mind, you're processing that, right? Or like I watch my father, my grandfather, excuse me, my stepfather, my pops. go to Liberia for the first time since he left in the 1980s. And he driving the streets. My man, what I can't do yet? This is not my country. This is not what I saw when I left.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go ask for this person and that person and that person. And he can't find them because unfortunately the war took them. And for those that are left, the resources that are so minuscule, there's not the same before.
It's true.
You know, so coming back yet again, this discussion is not necessarily meant to solve Liberia's problems, but
There
this
you go.
discussion is meant to continue the conversation and do the good work that people are doing in Liberia back home, and continuing that work of how do we deal with the pain? How do we let these Americans know, or these, Liberians in the diaspora know that yes, Liberia suffer. Liberians are not lazy. Liberians are just lacking an opportunity, and they're lacking opportunity because of this crisis that happened. In addition to that, let's talk about the therapy aspect. Let's heal ourselves so we can start acting from a place of like, not just like love, but acting from a place of like, let's make this better, as opposed to just pointing the fingers, because we know of the situation that actually happened, and the effects, the trauma of it, like, and I don't want to ramble, right? But let's just talk about like the secondary trauma and how it's continued. So some of the effects of trauma is like you have to consistently protect and look out for yourself, right? So we talk about, especially if you're used to not having nothing. We talk about, oh, we send money into Liberia, if your family don't, we eat it, and then they won't do what it's supposed to do. And I'm not blaming that solely on the war, right? But it's like, all right, if you're not used to having much and you have a little bit of something, you don't know when that's going to come again. So you want to protect yourself and create a space that like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do for Hub. I'm gonna do for me too, because this may not come again,
It's
right?
true.
So all of that could kind of be like the secondary, the third, fourth, fifth reaction of dramatic trauma. So
Yeah,
That's
to
a
pick
fair one. Come in, Melissa.
yeah, to piggyback on that, what Joe is also talking about is flight and fleet responses, right? Your body reacting to that. Do I fight or do I flee? You know, and I feel like Liberians, we consistently live in that type of response mood, right? Fight or right, and that's survival, right? And that's not a healthy way for us to live, right? And when we and to also add for the event, we don't want it to be a political type of an event. It's just really a community sense of belonging, healing, and connectivity, right?
Okay.
But we also look at like the election coming up, and we look at the policy, the politicalness of Liberia. Not having spaces like this to process these things also affect that as well. It affects how people vote. It affects how people choose a president for our country, right? So if you have individuals, right, that have PTSD, that have not had experiences to therapy or have not been able to process these things, right? Their chances in response to voting and things like that are not really, they're not really in tune with those things, right? Because they are still in that survival mode and they're not thriving, right? So what we want to do is help Liberians. We want to encourage our people to get to the point of thriving, right? We need to it's easier said than done to let go of survival, but we need to get to a place of thriving, because that's how we're going to develop Liberia past all the things that we've been through. And that's what we want to do. We want to encourage people that are coming to the event on Thursday to understand the history, reflect on it, respond to it, and then how do you move forward? How do you move your family forward? What can you change in the conversations that you have with your fellow Liberians to kind of decrease that feeling of survivalness and decrease that feeling of trauma, right? Trauma is, your body again is going to keep the score of trauma. That's just what bodies do, right? But we don't always have to be on alert. We don't always have to have our guard up, right? So that's why we put this event together, to just kind of give resources for some of those people that don't know how to find those things in their body and don't know how to communicate some of the afflictions they've been through.
Thank you so much for that. So, is there anything you guys have to add again before you leave? I think the people following enjoying you guys, so they are not asking questions. So if you're following us, if you want to ask any question, you can ask a question. You can call 401-359-5072, or you can put your question in the comment section. They will also be glad to answer your question as well.
So one of the key things that I like about this program, Philip, and let me take a step back. Yeah, I see you're in Indiana.
Yeah.
I am in the great state of Ohio,
Okay.
the city of Columbus. I sit on the board of Federation of Librarians in Ohio under the ULA umbrella, where
Okay.
we try to represent the librarian community in all
Mhm.
things Ohio. So whenever I get a chance to represent my city, my state, the union, I want to do so in a positive light, right? So let's recognize that first. But
That's good.
um, some of the takeaways that I think anybody that joined this call is going to walk away is that we wanted to make sure that we highlight amazing librarians, right? Librarians in all aspects of life doing great things. And
Mhm.
we have a panelist of all librarians. We have a panelist of both men and women. We have a panelist of two librarian mental health therapists, right? And I think that is extremely important to highlight the two librarians mental health therapists. They're both from Minnesota. We planted there, but everybody on this call, for the most part, comes from a different part of the diaspora of the country, right? Coming back to it, uh, Philip, like if you're on this call, you will walk away leaving with something, particularly as they start talking about how to communicate, how to communicate effectively with if you're a mother to a child or a child to a parent,
Mhm.
how to communicate and set boundaries, right? The same way we used to um, discipline our children back home, we don't discipline our children here as well, right? How to set those boundaries effectively with yourself and with your kid.
Mhm.
Uh, like when we talk about generational trauma, essentially that's like passing things down from one generation to another, right? We've
Mhm.
passed down our resiliency, we've passed down our ability to love our cooking, our dancing, our culture, right? But we're passing down. We've also passed down some trauma with it, right?
It's true.
I'm not, despite how you feel about raising your kids, that's at the parent level. But
Mhm.
we're going to talk about communicating. We're going to talk about setting those boundaries with yourself and your kid. We're going to talk about being able to, uh, like get out what you're trying to get out effectively in terms of communication without, say, threatening, without, say, creating a situation where the other person would just shut down because if it feels like, I say, if you're attacking, right? Oh, my man, you stupid, like, just things
Yeah.
like that, and not necessarily like wanting to change our culture, but more so learning tools and skill set that we can walk away with. I'd be like, okay, now I see where you're coming from. Or if you're saying this, I see that. Or you're acting this way because of things that you've experienced in your past, and get into the root cause of it. So,
So let me just ask this short question. So do you think some of the way Liberians, most places where you go, you see Liberians, they talk so loud. Do you think it's some of the impact of the war?
um, uh, no, right? Because I've watched videos of Liberians in the '80s, and we talk
Mhm.
loud then, and we talk loud now. I think we are like we love our culture. We love to be heard,
Mhm.
and we love to be celebrated. All right, like we love to electro. So it was electro, and it's also like
Mhm.
when we're talking, uh, you want to make sure that you are heard. So in those conversations, you may have to elevate your voice a little. Even here in America, right?
Mhm.
I speak to some of my older librarians who have been in America since the '70s, '80s. When they're talking to their folks back home, they are very loud on the phone. So I think it's just part of our culture, and I love that.
Okay, so we have with us Professor Willa Pele just joined us. So we want to say welcome, Professor Pele.
Thank you so much, Philip. Thank you for bringing me on this evening. Thank you, Joe Sawo and Melissa Capel, for bringing this to light. There is a lot riding on this. I got questions of my own that I want to ask you all tonight, but
Let's start
thank you
flowing
so
right away.
thank you so much. So the first question that's on my mind is some of us were able to get out of Liberia after the war, which is a very traumatic experience. Some people had it worse, some people had it hard, but in it all, it was a change. What do you hope to accomplish for those in Liberia who have not had the opportunity to leave Liberia? What do you hope that this shedding of light on April 6th, that was a traumatic event, will do for them, to them, and how will it benefit them?
Wow. Thank you so much for this question. It's very deep. So it's one of those questions where I think I have to take it and process it.
Mm-hmm.
But what comes to mind is that I hope that those that are in Liberia that did not get to leave, right? I would hope that they would see that this is something that happened and didn't happen. It happened to them, right? But it's something that happened, right? And not solely attach themselves to it, if that makes sense, right? Like I would hope that they would somehow they would keep their love for their country still and know that this is something that things happen, not in a very light way, but things happen in a way that they can feel like they can move forward, right? And then I would also hope that those in the diaspora, right, could understand how April 6th has affected not only them but those who stayed in Liberia, right? And I would hope that that would motivate them to bring more opportunities into Liberia so that those people can have hope as well, right? Because the difference between the individuals that experienced April 6th and then came to America, right? They got that opportunity for hope to see better, right? And the people there, seeing better is kind of hard, right? It's hard to see better. It's hard to want to heal when you don't know where your next meal is coming from, right? So I would hope that they would be encouraged that things can get better, and things get better by not being afraid to talk about it and to know that this is something that happened, right? It didn't just happen to them, right? And that's the best answer I can think of right now. But yeah.
So, with that being said, it's a good thing that you put it that way, but it's like opening a can of worm. There's no way to shut the door. When you start this, after the panel come on and do this discussion, what next?
That's another big question, right? What next? And that's something that I think I told Joe before is that I'm all about creating spaces, but I'm also about solutions, right? I'm also about, okay, what can we do, right? And I feel like creating the space empowers individuals to then think of a solution, right? Whether that is cultivating a community center in Liberia, whether that is improving the mental health system in Liberia, whether that's in going to create missions to go to Liberia and talk to youth, right? I'm hoping that on Thursday, when we have this conversation and we also have the Q&A, that we can also talk about solutions as well. Even though it's just a 2-hour event, and we kept going back and forth whether we should make it 2 hours or 3 hours, because we understand that these topics are topics that people think about every day, but they don't know, they either don't are not in spaces where they can have it, or they don't know what to do after they've had the conversation, right? So the solution is that I'm hoping that it will empower Liberians in the diaspora to go back home and understand that the healing starts when we feel a sense of belonging, when we connect with our communities, right? And let them know, like, we can move past this. But I'll let Joe
Sorry,
go.
Professor. Come in, Professor.
So,
If Alice want to add, Alice can come in before you come in, Professor. If Alice want to
okay.
add something, maybe he were in the background, he heard Melissa saying something he want to buttress, so that will also be helpful as well. Alice, you want to add, or the professor can ask the next question? For your information, you'll have Butler University professor on the panel here with you people soon. So, Alice, you are muted. Let me say, Joe. Sorry, I just calling you differently, Joe.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, the whole you talking to me. I thought you were talking to us about Elizabeth.
I'm making this. I just say Ellis, Ellis, Ellis. Sorry, Joe.
Hey,
I'm so sorry,
what
Joe.
the Elizabeth? Come on, so what the Elizabeth at? Uh, but I
Right.
mean, really, just adding on to everything Melissa was saying, though, right? Is just
Mhm.
like, and like, so I shared I went to Liberia for the first time in 2016, right? And that was like when, as an adult, I was finally able to go. And I've never been a part of something so far in my life where I felt like I was home. Right now, I grew up in Philadelphia. Now in Philadelphia, we have Woodland Avenue where all my Liberians be. You can go there, you get your pepper color, your roasted fish, all of that, right? But
Yeah.
it was being back home, and you get off the plane and you hear that real correct colloqua, all right? That every plan my man got my lady. Somebody asked me for money, and I've just been so happy to give it, just because I felt like I was home. Or like, or you driving on in the road, and somebody on the other side of the road and just start cussing you because you end up with, right? Why? Because it's like being on the inside of an inside joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody around you is in on that joke. So like, the hope for this program for Liberians back home, for Liberians here in America, for Liberians in the diaspora, essentially, is just to feel that connection, right? Because the only difference between younger Liberians in the diaspora and Liberians back home, is an opportunity, right?
I
And
like that.
essentially, what you do with that opportunity, because some of our brightest minds in the country are still in the country, right? Only difference is the access to capital, the access to opportunities are not the same as it is here. So to answer your question, Professor, like the ultimate goal, as Melissa said, would just be continue to create that connectivity, because like what gets me excited and like I love talking about this is that like over the past couple of years, there's been like a strong interest from African Americans, from Africans in the diaspora to get connected with their homeland. And we
Mm.
see how that has helped South Africa, how that has helped Kenya, how that has helped Nigeria and Ghana, of course, as Ghana has like one of the fastest growing tourism population in the world. But I remember going to Harvard Business Conference in 2019, 2020, where is an African business conference that focuses on the African continent, where people from different countries talk about their entrepreneurial endeavors, and seeing how these entrepreneurs in the diaspora are going back home to their native country to invest, right? And we have the exact same in Liberia. I met like two amazing Liberian women there who are doing this now, and I'm going back and forth to Liberia to continue to invest. So overall, this particular program is just to like one, talk about it, where it's not just a big celebration of partying in life, but continue like programs. And depending on how successful this one goes, I saw the
Mm.
question. I hope this continues. We will continue having these programs that one is not necessarily like affiliated with any particular organization, but it's just younger people wanting to make that connection to our brothers and sisters of Liberia. So back to you, Professor.
Oh, sorry, Professor. I have a beauty. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you so much for that, Joe. You know, come and spend some time with me is different from come and live with me. There is a saying in Liberia, until the shoes is on your foot, you really don't know where it burns. And we who in the diaspora, we always know we want to go back home because we get to go home for 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 weeks, and we enjoy our time there. But yet we're back on the plane and we are back over here. The people who live there feel disproportionate to everything that is called opportunity. So for us to leave from here and go back home, they don't just spread their arms and say, welcome home. You come from the diaspora. What did you bring for us to grow this place? It's very, very hard for people to accept changes unless you carry your change in the private sector. You're not going to hit a lot of the high points that you're looking to hit. So, in as much as you, the youth, looking at it like we just want to open the door for the conversation, first of all, we want to enlighten our other youths back home. Trust me, it's two different levels. The youths that were able to leave Liberia had the opportunity to grow as youth. The youth that stay in Liberia became adults overnight. So that changed the mindset, and mindset is everything. My next question to you is, do you intend to infuse this new idea you're looking to have from a private sector area, or do you intend to go from a governmental sector? How do you plan to infuse this doors that you are opening?
Joe, you want to go? Sure.
Yeah. Joe,
Sure.
you see how when crew women learn book, you see how they can get people happy.
You see how Melissa smiling because she knows that, right? Right. No, but I really do love like our Liberians though, right?
Yeah.
Um and so this is not like a private sector in the space where it's more so business. And I think it's like, okay, how can we reach a larger amount of audience? So one of the things that we wanted to do was create a conversation with people that are currently doing their work in the respective communities, right? And you may have missed it, but earlier I talked about being from the great state of Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
representing the great city of Columbus and our community chapter here. So we have been doing a lot of great work in Columbus, Ohio, and in the state of Ohio with our Liberian organizations, right? And one of the reasons why I'm excited about it because we are working with people that younger librarians that were just recently born here to older librarians that have been in the community for a really long time. And so we want to continue to tap into that, right? Like just to keep that culture, right? So, okay, so librarians in Ohio, Marlissa is from Minnesota. So we're tapping into that Minnesota librarian community there, right? We also tap into the librarian community in Philadelphia, tap into the librarian community in the DMV, and overall under the umbrella of ULA. Not necessarily as aligning with the political aspects of it, because truthfully, we don't care, and I mean that because we don't have political aspirations, right? It's more so it's just like we want to see like how can we reach a larger audience, and why reinvent the wheel when we can tap into these communities that want to provide programs like this for their people, right? And give them the space to connect with us and make that happen. Yes, I'm aligned with LICI, I'm aligned with Follow, I'm aligned with ULA because I'm interested in growing that space. So why not volunteer the lay book I learned in college, the lay structure I learned in the military to make that community grow when my only service here is, the real secret of life is the service that you give. My only service here is to continue to help my community both at home and the diaspora, and the overall like nation as well. So yeah, so that's the overall goal, is to like utilize the structure that's already in place. Because one of the things that pain me, and this is my last point, is I hate when I talk to some of my friends in the diaspora that always say, man, I can't wait to go to Liberia and change the entire country around. And I understand they have great intentions by saying that. But what pains me is that they are dismissing all of the good work that have been done, as if the lit book they learned here in college, the lit small middle level position that they got, can go back to Liberia and change it because they think the country is completely nothing, right? So despite the good intention of that, it's coming from like an ill-informed place. So what we want to do is tap into the work that's already been there and add the little bit of skill sets that we have to make it just a slightly bit better, if we can even do that.
Thank you, Joe. Melissa?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about private sectors, about nonprofit work. I'm not interested in politicalness, really, to be honest. But everything personal is political, to be honest. So you can't really say you're not gonna be political because the political is personal. So I'm not naive to that. But private sectors, I believe, is what's gonna grow Liberia, and I believe that individuals that would attend this event on Thursday can gain, insight into some of the ideas that they have to want to go back, and actually also be encouraged through this conversation, right? Because on Thursday they're going to learn about the history, they're going to learn about how to trauma, they're going to learn about resiliency, they're going to learn about these things, and the hope is that then they can take those things and be inspired with that idea that they have, that one business idea that everybody has. Oh, I got this business idea to go to Liberia and do this, right? But sometimes we get discouraged. We're like, man, but my people will use me, they'll do this. We get discouraged and we don't do it, right? And when we don't do it, we take away from the person in Liberia who is depending on us to come and do something, right? And so I believe that individuals that go to Liberia in general need to work on they need to take away their westernized concepts, right? The way that things should be, right? Because you see the things in the Western world, how they are, you want to take it to Liberia. You can't do that. You have to learn the law of the land, right? Yes, the systems in the US are great or whatever to a certain extent, but you have to take that, twist it into the way that a Liberian would do it. That is the only way you're going to speak to your people, right?
And like people respect their culture.
Exactly, and respect their culture, right? But you have individuals who feel like, they can go and they can get these systems, these westernized system, and take it to Liberia, and they're going to bring development, right? Liberia is a beautiful country. Liberia is a virgin country, right? Liberia doesn't need anyone else's system. We just need our own. We need our own national identity that we can stand on, and our own way of programming, right? And that's what I believe in. And that's why I think platforms like this encourage people to do that and not really focus on the westernized concepts to take back home, but focus on what is the need and how can I utilize my resources, the things that I've learned, right? And myself as a Liberian, my identity, and bring that back home. So that's kind of where I am with the whole idea.
So thank you so much. So Joe, I am from Ohio also. I live in Columbus for 25 years. So that community center you see LIC I have today, we are the bedrock.
Correct.
We had a plan to get it and we got it.
Correct.
So it's all
Come
about
back to Ohio.
you know now.
Come back. You know,
I'm in Indiana and we're trying to bring the same thing here.
Indiana is the newest city coming up now.
You want? Oh, I tell him back, my man.
But like you said, you learn something new in one place. Why not take it to another place and see if it can grow there? So all those ideas and the way LIC operates in Ohio is what we're trying to bring to Indiana. So at least at the end of the day, we can have a log in the ground called our own. So we can party from 6 to 6 and have a good time. So my next question to you all, this is very, 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 very important that you spreading this light through this means. And I'm happy that it's the youth that is putting forth this effort. I just want to know how many different ways have you promoted this event so that the people who needs to be there, like our youth, can be able to hear what's coming down the pipeline?
So on my end in Minnesota, the organizations of Liberians here have contacted the executive director to do robocall here. I'm originally from Indiana, so I moved from Indiana to Minnesota. So I connected with my friends in Indiana, and that's just honestly how we got on this platform, right? And trying to spread the word. That's how we're trying to do it. Social media. Also, we connected with media partners. So you're looking at LIB Positive, which is on Instagram. You're looking at Monrovia Express. All these other youth-driven initiatives, right? That they have their own platforms. We have gone to them and say, hey, can you share this flyer so that people can come? It's a free event. Joe and I both have our individual businesses, and we came together to put this together. So we're not under any umbrella. It's just like we're like, this needs to happen. That's created. So we're just spreading the word. We also have 2 other individuals who came on to help us as far as like gathering people, finding the speakers, and so on. And so that's pretty much what we've been doing to promote it to our people, because for me, it's important to get more than like at least 200 people on that Zoom call, because if we're having this conversation, just the 4 of us, imagine when you have all Liberians together saying, you know what, we need to talk about this, we need to find solutions forward, right? That is how you create change. That is when you have a sense of belonging, when you create social interest, a place where individuals can come and Liberians from all walks of life, right? Not the so-called educated, the non-educated, so-called indigenous, not indigenous, all that doesn't matter. What matters is that if we want to see Liberia succeed, we need to have certain conversations that are difficult conversations. And then we need to figure out solutions. That's kind of where I'm at with everything. I mean, for me, I no longer want to have conversations about, when Liberia would develop or Liberian people don't support each other. I don't care to have those negative conversations because they don't help. They don't help. And growing up, I remember my uncles and my dad and all of them would have conversations about Liberia and the war. But back then I couldn't appreciate it, right? I was like 8 years old. I'm like, gosh, these people are always talking about the war. They always sitting there drinking a gin, talking about the war. Then I grew up, in my early 20s. I'm like, I live for those conversations again because what they were giving me information. They were telling me my history that now I can take now and then and create the change that I want to see. So that's pretty much the whole concepts and how we've been getting the word out.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much, Melissa. And hey, I hope everyone that's on this platform tonight will spread the word up because that go faster than anything else. We'll put the ad in our Facebook. We'll just let somebody hear something. And I wish you well because this is very important, especially for our youth back home who have lost youth anymore. Youth is not what we know it to be. I
Yeah.
grew up in Liberia. All my life I lived there. There's the best place in the world, but our children cannot say the same. They can't feel. We have a show also on Loki's Hour called Thank God is
It's
Fabulous. Our
fabulous.
first topic was on friendship. That's to tell you that where we came from, that was a whole different sideline. And where people are today, friendship is a whole different thing. Friendship got 13,000 different names now anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you all have stepped out like this to put this kind of awareness out there. Whatever we in the background need to do to make it grow and blaze, we will do. Just let us know. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having
Thank you so much, Melissa. At least the good thing about these panel discussions, they're going to stay in the cloud. Somebody going to come across it, listen to it. Because when Joe talk about issues about people being traumatized from the war, yes, obviously. I remember it came a time I took my daughter to Walmart, and while we were passing, went to the toy section, and she picked out a toy gun. I said, "Put that down. What you doing with it?" And she like, "I want a toy." I said, "You crazy? You can have any toy, but not gun." And, because we experience war. If I was born here or grew up here, those things are just toy. But for me, even the toy gun, I believe you already start practicing. So so that's they Joker laugh at me. Ready? Go ahead.
First, I just had to step aside real quick because I had to do a community call,
Mhm.
and the community call is from our dear Liberian community here in Columbus, and they wanted me to tell you, Sister T. They say they give me the details. You'll see
Oh
the name
yeah.
over there, but I know the details. They say I'm gonna tell you hello,
I say you said
welcome. They
TT
miss
straight.
you.
They want to know where it come from.
Exactly. They say hello, we miss you, and they want you to come back. So that you're Indiana, y'all will not have a. But yeah, that's all I had to say. I missed the last part of the convo, so excuse me.
Yeah, you're good. But we have exhausted the time, and we will ask the both of you if you have anything to add to the conversation right now before you guys leave. You can add. If not, then we can just open up to have each of you parting.
I just wanted to say again, thank you for having us. This was more than I expected, and it was great. And Professor, it was nice to meet you, and I would definitely be contacting you because I already have some other ideas that we can connect with. That's how my brain works. I'm a visionary, and I always creating something. So I would definitely be contacting you. And thank you so much, Philip, for having us. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you
Man,
so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will do that.
Philip, thank
Go ahead.
you.
Mhm.
Thank you for your platform. To whoever is watching, know that Liberia is in good hands. The quote unquote youth. Sidetrack. I always wonder at what age do you start being a youth? All right. We all know y'all tell me, but like I'm super excited to be considered the youth, right? I'm super excited that we are really want like we love a country that a lot of us have never been to, but want to continue to aid in helping making it better. Why is that? Because our parents, the time we were small, would take us to all those Liberian parties. They will cook all those sweet, sweet Liberian food. That it seems weird today. I always say Liberian jollof rice tastes better than any other jollof rice in the world, right? And we're proud of our country. So as I just recap and bring it back home, man, I hope whoever's watching tomorrow come out to this program on Thursday. Just listen in. If you have a question, write it on the Facebook platform. So we will be sharing it via Zoom. It's virtual. You can be from your house. You can be from your car. You can call in. You can listen. And we want to just to be a discussion for everybody to come and feel welcome. If you've lived through the pain and the trauma of the war, right, and you are a survivor and you are a hero of that space, right? If you're somebody like me who have never been in that situation, and I can only empathize and sympathize with people who've been, right, who have literally had to go to a whole different country and start over from scratch, and look at how much we've accomplished as Liberians, right? So come on a call on Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m., 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time, as we talk about how we can deal with this generational trauma that we have, as we learn skill sets to deal with that generational trauma, skill sets to better communicate with our children and our parents and our grandparents, right? And leverage all of the things that we've learned, right, to move forward. So I hope to see you all there.
Thank you so much, Joe. And thank you so much, Melissa. It was a pleasure having you people here today. Professor?
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward. I'm excited for Thursday as if I was in the plans of the works. So I'm looking forward. I will be there and I will listen in because this is about my children's children. And at the end of the day, if we don't do something, we'll have a lost generation.
So, Melissa, before you leave, you want to tell us about the flyer?
Yes, so on the flyer we have the speakers, and on the flyer we have, I think, we have all this panel, the panelists, and then the 2 mental health therapists at the bottom.
Yeah, and then just adding to that, we have the speakers, Honorable J. Shua Kamara from ULA. He may not be available, but we want to have a ULA representative, not because of the political affiliation, but because they're supposed to represent the Liberian organizations in America, right? North, South, Mexico, but more so just to have that, like, bring that faith. We have Lucy Wilson. She may not be available, but somebody from the DC. JCN Carr. Jacian Carr, who was a Liberian historian. He got his PhD in Liberian history, right? We have Marie Gold. She's a young Liberian MBA student who just came from Liberia. So I love hearing her talk because the colloquy is so great to listen to her. Then we have our 2 mental health therapists there, Katadi and Eva, right? And they, Katadi is getting his PhD right now, and Eva, I believe, has her own practice. So it's really just all of the great things that these Liberian young and younger people are doing. We want to highlight that and talk about this space, and we want to make sure that we bring people who have the right to talk about this space because they've lived it and they've teached on it, and they can really bring it all home.
Thank you so much, Joe, and thank you so much, Melissa. It was a pleasing pleasure to have you people here today.
All right, thank you all. Cheers.
Thank you.
All right.
So
we're ready for part 2.
There you have it. Oh, sorry. So there you have it. We have our brother Joe and our sister Melissa in here talking about reflecting on April 6, 1996. I remember April 6. It was terrible. And that's something people don't want to ever throw light.
But Philip, have you ever wondered those people who back home, who never left, stay in the same position, same house, and still living a process over and over every day? Have you thought about that?
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Because all of the war, I think from 89 coming to April 6, they were all terrible. But April 6, it was very short and brutal. Lots of people lost their life.
Yeah.
It was so senseless. That's why most of the time when people talking about April 6, The younger ones do not know because they hear that we fought war for 14 years. Why would I would make emphasis to just April 6th? But it was senseless. It was just shot, no reason, no better explanation. Today, we lost innocent people. Lots of people become hero. And trust me, and that's a good initiative Joe and Melissa they are embarking on. I really do appreciate them because it takes courage to start up with these kind of conversations. I know as they go on, they're gonna grow. They're gonna grow. And when they get to 1989 issues and what brought up on the wall, how people use Bluetooth and other things, they'll have a lot of panelists, they'll have a lot of people who will want to contribute to this kind of conversation. But it's an interesting conversation I would love to listen on because I can say this, and I say this with a lot of pride and dignity. I have a lot of experience. I stayed in Liberia for all of the war. I never traveled nowhere. So from 89, 90, April 6, World War One, World War Two, World War Three, I was there for everything. So it means I experienced all. I have a vast experience. That's why sometimes when some of my peer or my equal group they are having conversation, I'm thinking far different because I was 9 years old when I decided to start acting like an adult. Because at 9 years old, I have to provide for my siblings. So I have to all the things what people doing, riding toy car, playing like a child. I never did it. I never did it. I have to be going to my father's friends, asking them for assistance to come back home in the evening, prepare food for my brother and my sister at the age of 9 years old. At the age of 15 years old, I look at my mom and my pa living in the house and I told them, I'm out of here. And I was gone forever. And I never returned to my parents' house until today. So I have
And
a
you know,
vast experience.
and you know, Philip, like you're saying there, that's the life of most of our Liberian adults today. Those who were very young through the war and had to be the provider for their whole family, over time, that's exactly the life you just explained. Now, pray tell me, having lived through that, if your mindset is not enriched, do you know where you're stuck at, or what you put under the pillow, or what you just close a jar on? You're like, I'm not going to open this one. I'm not going to think about it. Don't talk about it. I'm going to keep moving on with my life. But back in your subconscious, this is very strong.
Mhm.
And she said, some people get angry and you don't even know why they're angry because the roots have not been dealt with. You know,
It's
there's a deeper problem on the root level. It has not been touched. And now we just live in the surface because we're like, one day at a time, just gotta live from day to day. So it's really, really good. But another concern I have is the timing. 6 to 8 on our side is way past sleep time there.
yeah.
How many people will be able to join, and really get the conversation?
And
But
the good
hopefully,
thing, my Professor Pilley, sorry for that. The good thing about the conversation is going to be in the cloud. Anybody
yeah,
can access it at any time and have a listen. But I think the live conversation will have been more better for
yeah,
victims of the war to be part of the conversation. Because trust me, I saw it all. I went through it, and it was a horrible experience. I can say this with all fear. And today, it makes me who I am because it made me to become a full-grown person at an early age. Yeah, so that's why sometimes when I see my friends and other people, and their story is far different from my story, and they want me to live like them, I don't because my story is unique to myself. That's why I
yeah,
am who I am because I know myself. I know myself. So
yeah.
other people got it on silver platter from baby. The parents took them from Liberia. They were in Ivory Coast going to this school and traveled to other here or other
Mhm.
Liberia. That was cool. But the experience that other children had playing with toy car, playing with toy dish, no, I never had that much. I never had that because right when I was born, in less than no time, there was war. So that just it. But that was a beauty too because it helped me, it expand me more. And I can say this. I always say this to some of my friends. I remember one time on the show here, yeah, I decided to talk about myself and talk about my unique history. And I started to tell them that it was on one of my motivational hours because I used to do motivational hours. I still do motivational hours on Tuesday. I used to talk to some of those guys who in notice and they are in the graveyard just smoking and smoking their head or and believe there's nothing to life. So what I used to do is to send some of my picking in there, the face food for them, then they connect the show on a Bluetooth speaker. Then I talk to them through through this means. And I make them understand. I say, listen, I live in the St. Menottes. 1989, my pa got pension from Firestone. And after that period, what happened? My mom asked my daddy to buy a house in Menottes. Right when we bought the house, put everything in the house, the war broke up, we have to leave everything, and we ran to Bon County. From Bon County, we ran to Nima County, just few short period. And when we returned, everything was gone. They looted everything. But the good thing, we had a house. And now when I came back, much smaller, 8, 9, going to 10 years, my daddy is not too well. My mom is somewhere else behind the line. I'm the older person. I have to tend to become an adult. Can you imagine? As a child, I tend to become an adult. So now, went through all of that. Age of 15 years old, I saw my parents have more children, and my daddy couldn't just afford to send everybody to school and provide all the food. And when I saw the constraint they were going through, I decided to take the mantle into my own hands. I was like, at that moment, at 15 years old, I have to decide my own fate. And I said to I kept my money, and the taxi stopped that day. My mom was standing by the road, and she saw me. I was getting the taxi in the trunk of the taxi, because when your money ain't correct, you get in the trunk, then you pay small. So my mom said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to Monrovia." She said, "What?" I said, "I'm not coming back." She said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "I'm going." And the driver closed the trunk. It was sorrowful, because I was leaving, going to a place I know nobody to go to. And I entered Monrovia. I went to one other place too, trying to stop there. I entered this school called Westham on an oral. And some of my friends, things that they don't know about me is, I don't care how you feel about me. What matters to me is how I feel about myself. I went to Oro. I was looking for a male uniform. It was expensive. And what I found a female blouse. It was much cheaper. And it's the same uniform. I bought that blouse. I started wearing it. Every day I wore that blouse going to school. People laugh because, we human, we have this short memory span. After a few days, you laugh, and after some time, you have to understand that's why he always wears. So your laughing ends, because you can laugh again because you have laughed a few days. I started going to school with that. Saturday night, I got so stranded, I couldn't pay my second semester school fees. Martin Sanson, every time he comes to the class, I used to go and hide behind the door. They used to be laughing till one day he walked behind the door, and he saw me hiding behind the door, and he embarrassed me from the class. Then I make them understand. I say, imagine all of those I passed through. All of those difficult times I passed through. But I have never been to jail one time. I have never stood in court to defend myself concerning anything. I never owe anybody a dime. I never stole from anybody before in my entire life. So the moral part of this is, the most important thing to me is my character. That's why when somebody try to tarnish my reputation and say you're not credible, it can get to me so bad. If you give me a chance, I want to hit you, you can tell me something different.
Yep.
That's the only thing I had, and that's the only thing that I used to penetrate all through all my life till today. That's why even my daughter or my son, I always instill into them, listen, you have to be disciplined. You have to good character that represents you. Because tomorrow, all the money you have, when you lose it, all your education, you don't have the character to back the education. Education is nothing. I always tell my son, sometimes when my son dress certain ways and he go to his school and be like, "Oh, daddy, at 13 years old," I said, "Listen, my son, you dress the way you want to be addressed. If people think you're dressing like a robe, they will address you like a robe. So you have to dress the way you want to be addressed." And that's it.
So true, Philip.
The
And
reason sometimes when people see me acting so bold and confident, they don't know where I got that from. Because my story is unique to me. I have passed through the fire. So passing through the smoke, it means nothing to me.
Yeah.
It means nothing to me. So that's why when I enter some gathering, I don't care how people feel about me. What matters to me is how I feel about myself.
And at the end of the day, whatever morals that and values that you have within yourself is what's going to drive you through life. And some people will just compromise that in a heartbeat. And their reasons for even compromising their values and beliefs is understandable to other people. Some people are just pressured into everything. Why will you do something that you know and feel is not right, but somebody else told you it's going to be okay, and you're just going to play along with that? That is sad. That is just sad, But yeah, we are. You're mute, Philip.
Sorry. Oh, thank you so much, Professor. So today we want to say first of all, today is April 4th. We want to say happy birthday to our brother Joseph Philip Jr. And tomorrow, April 5th, is our brother Tito Harris' birthday too. We want to say happy pre-birthday to you, Mr. Tito Harris, and Mr. Joseph Aziki Zaka Sele. We want to say happy birthday to you as well. And Professor, we have these issues about a press conference that came out. I don't know if you want to throw light on the press conference before we can go through other discussions here. You would love to throw light on the press conference. You out there read the press conference out?
I read it
Mhm.
and I was just taken aback. I was. I was. It's been how many months now since the whole election process and President Parker and his team has taken over. And I don't know how many times can you walk to a wall, bump your head against the wall, and expect to go through it without breaking the wall down. Is rather sad at this point that we are going to talk about this in this time. But I don't know what he doesn't see. I don't know from which angle on his chair he's sitting, and I don't know where he's looking because some things you just cannot do because you cannot do it that way. It's not how it's done. I mean, there's so many potentials in the community to give you what you should have or what you can have or what you should build or what you can know. But I guess he sees what he sees sitting from where he's sitting for which he do the things that he do because society have its own norms that it never wrote a book to tell you, but you will have to figure it out that it's just not done this way. And I think yet some things that he's doing, I don't know what he's listening to. I don't know where he's coming from and who's helping him understand things, who feeding him information, who telling him how governance work and why you can't do everything that you want to do as a person that
Mhm.
feels good to you but may not be good. I don't know where he's coming from. So some of the proposals that is coming out like this uh memorandum that came out
Mhm.
about the appointees and all of that, good on his part that he's got people working. But whom you chose to do what is a whole different story. You go in one, why didn't he just appoint the first lady to be the chair lady? That because we're doing family thing. So just keep it within that deep level in. We can do that too. But that's not how it's done. You think if you surround yourself with circles of people that will tell you yes all the time, you're gonna see no. If you don't see no, you will sure hit the wall several times and realize that you're not gonna go through it. It's a wall. But I really would like to hear from himself.
Mhm.
How do he come by these appointees? What do he think about? What criteria does he set? What standards does he hold himself to when he's making his appointments for people to work with him in his government? Is it just, I think you're on my side and I think you're gonna do what I want you to do? You can't get the best out of yourself if you surround yourself with those who will always tell you yes. No.
Thank you so much, Professor. So, for those of you who follow us and do not know what Professor talking about, um, the president of the Liberian Community Association, Mr. Julius Parker, we have the the press release on the screen here. So we just going to read it for you. Those of you who just joining us for the first time do not know about this. So it said Fafa South State Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46201, Suite 314, Office of the Secretary General. Press release. The President, Julia K. Parker, has made new appointments in his administration. Miss Rose Andrew, the Ways and Means Chairperson, resigned her position on February 23rd, 2023, due to family reasons. This position has been vacant since then. Last weekend, the President appointed Mrs. Sabah Sosa as the new Ways and Means Chairperson. Mrs. James Barakaba remain the co-chair of this committee. Also, in keeping with the Constitution, members of the Budget Committee were appointed by the President and have been approved by the Board of Directors. This ad hoc committee will work on the administration annual and provisional budgets until deemed otherwise by the President. Members of the committees are Mr. Joseph A. Sele Jr., Chairman, Mr. Morris Guo, Co-Chair, Mr. MacArthur D., Member, Ms. Fatima Famule, Financial Secretary, as Official Member, Mr. Richard P. Boya, Vice President, as Official Member. President Judah Parker has similarly asked the former Vice President, as Ms. Miko Koke, to serve as an advisor to his administration. The former Vice President accepted. Anyway, that's fine. So there you have it. Some of you who don't know why we are discussing here, we have a press conference that came out, and the president, Mr. Julius Parker, appointed a few officers who are going to serve. Mr. Joseph Sele Jr., congratulations, as the chairman of the Budget Committee. Mr. Morris Guo, co-chair, Budget Committee, congratulations. And Mr. MacArthur D. as well. Finally, you now serving your community. And I see some people here talking about that social organization. The Liberian Association is a social organization. That's a good question, but we will reach that point to answer the question of my sister Titi. So let's get to my concern here. And Professor, you struck it very well. You said it the way I wanted to say it. But the key part of this thing that I do not understand is that Mr. James Barakaba, who was appointed as the co-chair to Miss Rose Anju, he's qualified. He ran as a presidential candidate in this town. He normally call parties. He know how to generate funds. And the question I have is that, what were the president thinking that the positions in the press conference says the position have been vacant and nobody to fill the position since February 10th, Rose Bayou stepped down? So had the president appointed Mr. Barakaba, what was going to happen to the president? So hold on, let me unmute you, Professor. I heard something low key, but that's why I muted you.
Look, isn't that the way it works when the head
the co-chair becomes automatic
command, when the next person in line moves to that position and like that? If he capable of being co-chair, but he's not qualified to be the chair, I don't understand. I don't.
I am confused because that's the issue that I had. Or is this president trying to rub something in Rose Anju's face? Because just last week, we had an issue where Rose Anju and Sabah were going out wild on each other and using some foul words, and they took it from the Liberian community chat and they took it in the Pastor Association chat. And is that the president trying to get at Rose because Rose said something that maybe they felt offended? That's why they appointed her up to rub it in your face, say, okay, say you want to get at Sabah. We will appoint Sabah to prove to you that they will hear you. Is that what they're really doing here? You think so?
If that's not childish, I don't know what is. And I don't know why would the president even scoop to that level. That's why I'm confused about who's advising him. Who is he listening to? How does he come by this determination of who he wants to put where? How does he come by that? I really wish the president would come back on this show or talk to the Liberian people, send us a message somewhere, somehow, and tell us what is he thinking when he's making his appointment. Because this is absurd. You have a co-chair of the very committee. If the chair step down, the co-chair step up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. No, you go and you bring, I don't know if she's the girlfriend of the wife to the IRS.
the wife of the IRC
the
chairperson.
wife of the IRC to be
Mm,
a chair. So now you got the husband, you got the wife chairing committees, you
mhm,
got two brothers gonna be doing our budget. So I
mhm.
think we who don't have family in the government, we need to go collect our people and bring them and say, look, I'm coming in, but I'm not coming alone. I need you to put my husband with me or put my mother-in-law with me because it looks like we're gonna run a family ship.
So last night I said something for cronyism, and a lot of people had issue with it. I think I see political patronage is on the rampage here because you supported me during the campaign regardless of your qualification or not. I will take a position. Is that what you're saying too?
It is blatantly clear that's what's happening now. Because if Saba was qualified in the first place, you would have
Mhm.
put her there in the first instance.
It's
She's
true.
she's your second pick, not even the second pick because you didn't even make her a co-chair to the first pick. So
Mhm.
she was nowhere in the limelight. All of a sudden now, yeah, I just seen your vision. You are the capable person to come to this position. That's why I just really would like for him to throw light on what is his thought process. How do he come by his appointees? What make him choose when he choose? Is it favoritism? Is it I know you? What am
That's
I
the thing.
setting? What? Something
That's
has to be driving him.
that's the
Something.
unanswered question here right now, because I am a little confused with this appointment. I know the budget committee, we will come to the budget committee on separate dates. But this Ethnical Ways and Means Committee appointment, I'm a little confused because, in all fairness, I got nothing against Sabah. She's my sister. She and I, we have a cordial relationship. We are good. Her husband and I, we are friends. We went to the same school, Cathedral. But I am still confused. Why is it that Barakaba, James Barakaba, and credible information reached me before the show started that Mr. Kaba is considering resigning. He's angry with this because he should have been preferred to say, "Hey, Mr. Kaba, step in the position. If for any reason you see that he's not qualified enough or he do not know how to do the work, then you can ask him, hey, we have another alternative. What do you look up for?" But
But Philip, how will you even say you can even say that? Because the first place you put him there as a co-chair, he
mm,
has to have been qualified one way or the other to be able to do that. Unless this president just picking people because oh you voted for me, I think I'll make you co-chair, but you're
mhm.
not qualified, so stay in co-chair position. Because now it's getting clear that if he didn't put him as the chair, which normally is the position of the next in command, then that means he only put him there because probably he voted for him or probably because he was his friend. But because you know he cannot do the job, so you're not moving him to the next level. You cannot do that. You
we,
can't do that.
we will open the line shortly. We will open the line shortly. Hold on, my brother. We'll open the line shortly. I will take a call. I see the IRC chairperson calling, but I know he called in defense. And I already know your position, Mr. IRC chairperson. But
IRC, you coming here tonight, you're not coming for no
uh,
defense. You're coming to be IRC, so
I'll
you
answer
better
your call
the right
shortly,
stuff.
Jeremiah. I will answer your call shortly. I will answer your call shortly when we open the line for the calls. But we want to discuss the issue first before we can open the line for calls. Because this is the thing I'm afraid of here, right? You see me? One thing I read it, my point, even in Liberia up to here, when the people talk about nepotism, cronyism, and those issues that are affecting us back home, when we try to exhibit it in the modern world, then it's confusing because we up here because we know better, we need to do better.
You
Is
think?
this president trying to shield himself that he need people to sing more praises? That's why he appointing in these directions, or they said a power sharing government where the vice president tell him these are my own people I want, and you can put my own person, and you can decide to put your own people. So is that something you see going on here? Because this is what I am observing here now.
You know, Joseph, I don't really care for Joseph, but sometimes he says some things and I read his stuff. I never comment on his stuff.
Mhm,
Since during the campaign time, he was disrespectful to me, saying things he got no clue, don't know. I've kind of like table his matter. But he said something one day in one of his little quotes that he normally make. He
mhm,
said, you know, our time is coming when we will be doing what we're supposed to do, where I'm going to go drink my wine. But whatever is unfolding today is
mhm,
is not about now. It's been unfolding a long time, but it was in the background. My thing is, we have no problem with who you want to work for you, but you got to be careful when you're making your appointments
It's true.
because some things is just not the way it's done. You can't do it like that. It doesn't work like that. You want chain of command. I remember when we were talking about the government, and worst part of it, these people have not even given us a 100-day plan. They have not told us anything that they're going to do for us. Now the cheesy people who have just got into position, when are these people going to make plans for it to come to fruition? Will soon be at the end of the year. So if the talking bird is saying that Obala is not going to hold on to this because he would be right to feel that way because this is not fair to him. He should have moved up to the next position, and then you can bring whoever you want to bring next, and people move down the chain. But you completely ignored this man and brought a whole new person. So did Bala say, "I don't want to be"? And if he did say he don't want to be, why would he then choose to be a co if he doesn't know the job or he can't do the job or he don't like the job? Why would he want to be in that position when he know if anything were to happen, he will be the next in command? So there's no way he can say, "I don't want to be the chair." That's why I told you to choose somebody else. So that one ain't me right.
That's why I don't understand. It's like me here. I ran as a presidential candidate. I believe I can move this community in the right direction. So if you appointed me as a co-chair on a committee, first of all, you have to take into consideration I have a whole following. I'm qualified to even run the entire committee because I was running as the president. So how can you see somebody who ran as a presidential candidate? He agreed to serve his community as co-chair to another person. Now the person stepped down. Instead of you giving him the opportunity to serve, you leave him as co-chair and appoint somebody ahead of him. So his own work, his own good. So wait. Something not right. So you're trying to tell her he's not qualified, he's not competent to be your king. That's why you try to say it.
That's the clear picture. Sadly, the picture is too clear. That's why it's speaking in words.
I think the president need to address the issue here. The president need to appear again on here or even on the open table. Would the president have more or answer questions?
Wherever the president go, he need to go somewhere and say something. You know, he need to say something. This is far gone. We've been asking. This man ran on a platform.
Mhm.
That platform every day, the Jeremiah chair was in the chat room giving us information. How come the platform that he ran on, he cannot produce the same things he said he will do as a plan for us to see? That means we're out of a lie. They stole it from somewhere. They don't know how to implement it. And that's the reason it have not come to fruition. We have not even seen it yet. Something is not right. That's why you can never jump on a horse and you don't know where it's going. They were saying all these things you were putting out, like this is my plan. They're like, let's do our own. Now they did their own. Where is it? That's the things you're supposed to be feeding us now. But still, today's date, we don't have it. And then he can tell us that, oh, I don't want to put something out there, then I don't do it, I get criticized. Can you imagine that? Or baby who say, I will not walk because I will fall. You sit on your butt forever. And that's where we are. How can this be? How can this be? We haven't got that from you. The first committee you set up to do inauguration, they still can account for the things that they said they would do because you knew these people from old. You brought them in the same old heads to, the new wineskin bottle, and now it's fermented. It's all over the place. We're smelling it. You can't even fix that problem because you had the opportunity to do new. You didn't want to do new. You said, let me go with the simo. And you're still going down the same old route. When are you going to learn? When are you going to realize that there is a wall in front of you and you cannot penetrate the wall? You must go around and find another solution. I don't understand. He really needs to talk to us now because
the president needs to speak because this is confusing now. I think it's tending to be a family kind of a government, and some of the danger of appointing just family members and husband and wife, brother and sister, pa and daughter. This kind of thing is a recipe for chaos because if we get to a meeting and they call your wife to give reports on her committee and she started to stutter when people decide to go at her, you want to fight.
The husband will come to fight.
You want to fight. And you want to start exchanging words because the only reason why we call people in our mouths because of the position they occupy. Before, when they were here are just ordinary citizens and do not occupy position, do not mention their names. But we look for people who's in the spotlight. So if your wife is in the spotlight, her name will be mentioned. And some of these things, Mr. Parker have to be very cognizant of them.
He has to. He has to. Because
Because
Philip, look, I'm not trying to cut you off, but one
go
thing
ahead, Professor.
I have noticed, and I've been watching, we just want to see the better. We want to see, give them the opportunity to do those things that they said they wanted to do. When somebody's heart is bleeding for what they want to do, you have to let them. We've let them. All right, appoint the people you got to appoint so we can get this job done the way it's supposed to be done. And as yet, we still ain't seen nothing yet. We're still looking, and we are looking really hard. The first flap, and I said it that day in the meeting, I said, you are not bringing the community into this. You're doing things as if people here who qualify don't exist to do this. Please, if you want this to be a community thing, put it on a community level. Don't do it just on one side. And for me personally, that was the reason why I didn't even vote for that budget people that day. Is because I knew those were the same old people and they couldn't bring new. There is no way the people that have done the same thing over the years to bring something new. So I didn't want to go same old route. And the same things that we were looking when we were sitting, that today you can say short-sighted is an insult, is what we find ourselves at today. Because we foresaw these things. Like, these people have not done good in the past. You think now they're going to do different, but they insisted this were the people they wanted. And then we were happy because we saw other people like, okay, new faces were joining them, but see how they sideline all of them because they're not used to working with anybody but themselves. So at the end of the day, they went right back to who they know to do what with, and we are at this junction. He doesn't see that as a problem, apparently, because as yet, he doesn't know how that financial budget that we approved, that money got taken out long before the budget came to the body, how long before the money was given to them, how they spend it, how it's not clear. So now he bringing a budget committee. You need a budget committee now, it's good, but we need to identify the first money that you put out, that the people didn't spend well. We don't have a clear picture yet. So are you thinking that the budget committee going to come up with a budget and who's going to approve it when we still have a problem on the table that has yet to be settled?
It's true.
I don't understand how we jump over the people in the mud and can't put one plane in the ground. We'll see nothing. And it will be Christmas. This is April, May, June, July. 26 is coming. Before you know it, we're stuck.
I think the president's decision to turn that whole entire thing over to the board, it was just that he was looking for a softener. He was looking for people who would delay the process while the community stays and wait and divert their attention to the board that, everything is in the board hand. Because we know the board, they are not very fast in dealing with matters. Right now, at this point, we will be going to meeting on the 23rd. We expect at that 23rd meeting, the board should be able to address the issue of the inaugural committee. Because if you miss the 23rd and the board cannot discuss the issue of the inaugural committee, cannot make sure we have the full inaugural committee report, the next time we'll be meeting will be on June 25th.
25th, yes.
June 25th. And when we meet on June 25th, if we cannot exhaust this inaugural committee stuff, how are you going to have July 26th?
How July 26th committee going to work? The people supposed to have plans now.
Have July 26th in the first place. Who place you going to use to put July 26th budget on the table? Who's going to vote for that? When the first budget we have, we stay discussing it. So this is a serious issue that we are looking at. I think the president and the vice president, they actually thinking we are at a wedding reception. But it is very serious. This has to do with community. This has to do with accountability. Because the other time, somebody listened to my show, the person lives in different states, and the person called me. The person said, listen, why you're stressing yourself about calling the president to order about inaugural report? Just go on your computer, file to the state of Indiana, file fraud. When you file a complaint about fraud, then they will send investigators. The administration will be on an obligation to present all the documents. We said once it has to do with fraud, because they are 501c3 organizations, they are not for profit. So when you file a fraud complaint, all the document will come up because they will have to present it to the investigators. So the point said, you gotta be doing all of that, calling your attention. He said these people feel that you are making my play. Because the first thing he said to me that of now, the government went to their workshop with the bull, and they have decided that they will not speak on any issues. Oh, let's just get a chance. Let's keep talking. We shouldn't be talking. And now, if they decide to keep silent, we will control the narratives. And when we control the narratives, it will lead to that.
Yep. But I don't know how come they don't figure that much. I don't understand how they don't figure that much. That you can't only push a person to the wall and they're going to bounce back and retaliate. If we do not get what we want from them, definitely we're going above them. We're going to set it in a position that they will have no choice. And if it comes to that, this is about all of us in this community. At the end of the day, we'll be sitting here looking at each other like the way New Jersey is looking at themselves in court for something they could have settled amongst themselves amicably. But no, they decided to take it to America and put it in American government. Because if you put a fraud for a 501c3, you bring in the government in because IRS don't joke. She coming for you. And at the end of the day, it would be the whole LIC. Right now, this 501c3 that we have, we don't even know if it is ours or not. We're just holding on to it because it's in somebody else's name. Can you imagine if we were to craft fraud on it? Then they go and take that one. We even got the person onto you. We got nothing. And now we're stuck because a president could not come up with a plan to do what he's supposed to do.
So we have our sister Fasia Hayton just joined. Fasia, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I had to come and chime in.
Yes, come in.
I had to chime in about this this appointment. You know, when I read the list of appointment, I was baffled. I was taken aback. I was perplexed. I mean, all of the adjectives that I can use, you know, came to mind. And you know, no disrespect or to Siba, I'm sure she's well qualified, but the context in which, you know, this is happening right now, it wasn't the appropriate appointment, you know, because number one, it's conflict of interest.
It's true.
Her husband has a high-ranking position in the government. Number two, she and the former chairperson just had a verbiage roller coaster wrestling competition in the chat room. You know, so from the outside, it looks as though, hey, are you trying to prove a point?
Prove a point. That's it.
You know, even if it was no inclination at all to the president, you know, he wasn't thinking about that. That's how it comes across. Number one. And then number two, I was thinking, well, I wonder how are they making these decisions? Is it just one day you say, okay, I'm gonna appoint this person and I just send a memorandum to the secretary? Or does the cabinet sit down and have a meeting and you bring out the list of qualified candidates and then you have a discussion? Because if I were in the cabinet and you bring out these names, I would have vetoed it. Not because the person is not qualified. I'm sorry. Not because the person is not qualified, but because of it was just not the right decision to make. And also, if I were in that position, okay, and my husband is Jeremiah, and you asked me to be the chair, I would have declined.
True. That's the honorable thing to do.
I would have declined.
That's the honorable
because
thing.
I don't care how well you do this job, that is going to be sitting over your head. That you know, this was a conspiracy, you know, appointment, and you don't want that.
You are right.
You don't want that.
You are right.
So, and then, and Siba is probably, she's innocent into this. I'm not talking about the verbiage, roller coaster that they had, but, but now she's in a compromising situation.
It's true.
Yes.
That's conflict of interest.
And my recommendation to her would be to let it go.
It ain't worth it.
Let it go. And then number 3, like you said, Kabat, he has the experience. He's the co-chair. Why didn't you bring him up the ladder? So why are you suppressing him when this is what this man does? It's just, it's the water is too muddy now. This is not good. Mr. Parker, we have high regards for you, and we all want you to excel. We all want this government to excel, because if it excels, we all excel. We all benefit. We all reap from it. But the way things are going now, you need to reevaluate.
Yep.
Yes.
Please.
Before Professor
We
Kami.
are appealing to you.
Have you thought
You need
about
to
something?
reevaluate.
If the IRC chair, like he normally say, he talks to the president and he's always out here advocating for the president and the government and things like that. I want to believe strongly. He went to the president and told the president, you will have to appoint my wife. And I want to
No.
say,
I know. I won't accept that. No, I won't accept that.
But see, that's the reason why you don't do these things, because the background interpretation is way different than the actual truth.
Yes.
So, but I want to believe you when they say you will appoint my wife, or else there will be no IRT chair. And you're like, I have to appoint your wife. Okay, I will do that. Because we all start looking in the picture, it's exactly what it says. You can't.
And people would think that way, even though it is not true. But you can't blame anybody from thinking that.
Even Mr. President, because Rose Bayou insulted me, you got to prove something to her.
Can you imagine?
Yes, because the whole thing that was going on the other night, it was between Jeremiah and Rose. Now Jeremiah's wife took on because the Bible said 2 of them they are one. So it because
that's the government is going to see. That's exactly what we're going to see. When you come, she even made a comment one day. She said, if anybody come for my husband,
I will come for you.
Me, so that I'm committing to now.
Yeah, and to be the devil's advocate here, in the heat of the moment, you say stuff, you do things. It is not right. I'm not condoning what happened, but let's look at a bigger picture here, ladies, women. Let's put that behind us and let's move forward.
It's true.
It wasn't necessary. It was not right. But let bygone be bygone, and let's shake hands and move on. You don't have to be best of friends no more. But this community is too small. It is too small. So I'm hoping that the two ladies can put aside these differences and make amends.
Yeah, I confused. Say what Jeremiah speaking about?
No, not the scientist.
Being appointed.
Yeah. So in all fairness, we love the lady. She's our sister. But the appointment, I think the timing was so wrong.
It was.
The little hoarding and putting on the chat, everybody saw it. They took it from the chat, they took it in another organization chat. Both of them were removed from that chat because of these same issues. Then now you say, I will appoint this person. Yeah. I'm in the Bassa chat. They took it to the Bassa chat. Both of them were removed from the Bassa chat. So now you say, I will appoint this person to rub it.
The funny way to come write out another apology letter again. You've seen the character being think about it. You've seen the character now, and you put them in our position. When they go to the party hall and open a fight, then you expect them to listen to the letter that they're going to write to us.
So it's a
they will listen. I beg, please. They will listen. Let's go for peace. Let's go for peace, please.
But you know our librarian setting now. The people can say the reason why librarian make us sleep hungry is because of voting. You can't because of voting, librarian make us say, I will see hungry today because I go ask the people vote me. So Mr. Parker, in his wisdom, he's the president. We can't question his appointment. But I think some of these things, the way Rufus started used to do it, Rufus would look at a vacancy and announce it to the community, qualified candidates. Let me know. If you have people then you can wear the name, bring it to your cabinet minister and say, hey, these are the people I apply. Who do you think fit this position? Everybody give you their suggestion, then you go and sleep and come up with your own positions. At least you have names of people. But you can't announce a vacancy. You only say the vacancy, well, here since it there, and now. Well, listen, we are about to have another vacant position that will be the co-chair of the Ways and Means Committee. I'm saying this because if my name was Bala Kaba, the very net that press release come out, the very net you see my letter up, I'm out because that make no sense.
So are we sure that Bala was not asked prior to this appointment?
Until he can come and clarify that.
Okay, so I mean,
but see, what would you say then? Oh, I don't want to be chair, but I want to be co-chair.
Yeah.
Is that
maybe because of his schedule? I don't know, but if you know if he was not asked, then that's wrong.
But for see, but the fact of him being co-chair, if ever the chair was not around, he is the chair.
It's true.
He's the acting chair. Yes.
So what are we talking now? You still will have to do the job. The schedule was the problem in the beginning. The schedule will always be the problem.
And somebody alluding here that because Bala live on the west side, and somebody saying this for you. They said this wasn't saying the government is actually split. Those on the west side, they are Philly people, and those on the south side, they are Parker's people. So all Parker's appointment have to come from the south side or maybe Plainfield. And the only people we got history that from the west side that work in this government, I think are just the youth chair and the co-chair. Other than that, all the rest of the appointment is from the south side and Plainfield. What's going on? What's going on? So we will open the line shortly. I think I saw a lot of people were trying to place the call. So we're going to open the line. Those of you who've been participating on the show, you know the number. The number is 401-359-5072 is the number to call. Well, first of all, the scientist been calling us. Okay, let me bring the scientist on right now.
Bring the scientist because he won't tell us not.
Yeah, brother, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Great show, guys. Great show.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see, when that kind of thing happens, you sit that in the comfort of your house, and you just question the judgment, especially in leadership.
Yep.
And then that brought me to the direction of philosopher who said that a level of education doesn't make you a leader.
It's true.
And I believe it's good because it has been clearly defined to me in the presence of our small community. Now, why am I saying this? It's about competent. I'm on your phone, buddy. Close the door. It's about competent and qualified for the post. Yes, 100%. Hasaba has lived in this community. She understands the normal operations of this community. 100%.
It's true.
She has made sacrifices in this community from back then, keyboards and everything. 100%. Is Bala as equally equivalent? 100%. Is Bala capable of performing that role for the next 3 years for Mr. Parker? Definitely. Now, in a situation where in the present, the former Chair left, and the way she left is very unceremonious, and she is disenchanted. And this is somebody who propagated the message for this regime.
There you go.
How did the leadership manage to let her go with all of the red flags and could not handle the in-house differences? Since the leadership comes to power, and that's why people say, oh, Germany put people there. The elections were here. We didn't put nobody there. La Brempo make their decisions. But when am I saying this? Since the leadership comes to power, too many internal wrangling for nothing, for no reason. And simply, this president cannot put one of it under control. One. That's weakness. That's not leadership. He cannot handle the in-house differences. The former Ways and Means Chair came out and said that it was because of Sabah appointment that they were fighting for. This appointment justifies her accusations because they had a back and forth before she left. Now, was Bala consulted? We don't know. But I can say on the record, for over the years, over 10 years plus, Sabah and Bala have never had a decent relationship. They have a relationship where they can coexist.
Yeah.
How you doing? How's everything? But it's not a decent relationship to say, come to my house. Let's do this, let's hang out. How has the president settled the issue that they have had in the past? Because that issue is not a strange issue to anybody in this community because we saw when Bala was running for the president, it was one of the issues that haunted him. Now, as the president settled it to make Sabah Soso or chair and Bala co-chair, and are you convinced that these people can work together and spearhead the community?
No.
Now, what I foresee in my own analysis, without knowing if Bala was consulted, what I foresee is that the probability for Bala to step down is 70%.
It's true. May I say 91?
Yes, that's one mistake. Secondly, we're talking about this Jeremiah and Sabah thing. I don't really want to force the relationship. I don't want to discuss the relationship because though I know conflict of interest may always happen, but as long as she's qualified, she can spearhead the security and focusing on the trends and the analysis that will happen in the future. Now let me go to the budget committee. You see, you guys are focusing on Sabah appointment.
No, we coming to the budget committee on another day because we know family people there too. We coming to deal with her.
No, but let me just say it because everything is out.
Anyway, you the care eat your own baby for it.
They give me team for me in the chat room when I was chairman for campaign. And things are not going away. They speak against me and they denigrate me. They say the words they want to say about me.
That's a uniqueness of the family.
When they're making this mistake, I will speak it out.
That's
if
true.
They can be in their feelings.
That's true.
When I was in leadership, they put this thing. So when they are coming to leadership, I must say it too.
You're
we
right.
can't let one person be throwing a rooster all over the place here. But then when something happens, we as a community don't want to speak because they will come for you, they will attack you. I don't have time for that.
You're right.
I don't bow down to people that want some people don't let Jeremiah because I'm not going to go too late on somebody to be relevant. I'm not going to do that.
That's true.
You can do that at your own expense, but not Jeremiah City. I got an ego of myself. What I'm saying is you have two brothers to be chair and co-chair of the committee. That's why huge conflict of interest because the probability for Morris to oppose the judgment of Joseph is high. The probability for Joseph to oppose Morris' judgment is high.
That's true.
So when those two guys make a decision to come and say that I'm going to steer the budget.
And
that's going to go.
And that's budget.
That's budget.
Yeah.
Now the other two people that are on our committee, they are first presidents, they are vice president and secretary who they refer to as ACOR. So that ACOR come in to set extent in terms of functionality.
True.
But Une Make, the neutral person.
Make is not neutral either.
No, when I say neutral now, I would say even though he's supposed to government, freeway got to take freeway. Because if Rachel Boya and Fatima Famula come from the leadership, they come from the leadership angle. Joseph and Moray come from the family angle. When they all mitigate, it's 4 against 1. Make is you can consider him liberal.
It's true.
In terms of leadership.
I agree on that. I agree on that point.
He has a direct family correlation with without the vice president. What kind of appointment is this? What kind of leadership are these guys running here? And when we question these things, we question the ability of judgment. When they see you, they don't want to speak to you. They see you, they fold their hand, they ask him, secretary. I don't care.
Tell me about it.
The reality is, we must say the reality. This is our community we all strive for, and we want it better. What the heck is this? Because somebody can go and talk to anybody anyhow in this community, so people must be a friend and discuss them. We will discuss them. You want to come from my web. You want to come from my family, come from my family. The only thing I know is that you can only tell me something one time. You can install my web one time. You install my child one time. You tell me one time. You can't do it 2, 3, 4 times. You get tired doing it.
It's true.
This is ridiculously crazy.
That's the story of my woman blazer way in school.
And let me say this about you. The thing where they demonstrate here, they say that leadership, they're not leadership. That's what we call courtesan. That's what we call courtesan.
You're right.
You have to be incentive to start it. You have to think for somebody before you gain relevance. That's courtesan.
You're right.
That's even that political courtesan. These guys don't know the leadership. They are all spineless. And they go around. So listen, I bet this is a hard. You got the expertise. Who of the budget committee? Who the expert on budget on that committee? Who the expert on budget on committee? The whole community here.
Morris, go
the whole community here. People just sit down, do that kind of thing. From what I've seen, the leadership is in tatters. The entire regime has been thwarted and it's messed up and it can get straight again. I don't believe this can ever get straight. Tons of mistakes upon mistakes upon mistakes. Last leadership, spineless people in leadership, they just turn it around, rotating over the place, 360-degree angle. They have nothing to offer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah Saleh. That's the scientist. That's the tough talking Jeremiah Saleh. Now you can tell from his voice, Jeremiah, he's one of those people who has always supported his community, but now he sounds very, very frustrated. And I can reason with him when the president is making some bogus appointments. Anybody can get angry with these kind of things because we see that's how bad governance takes place. That's how even in Liberia we talks about every day Liberia can improve, Liberia can improve. This is a classic example of bad governance. You can start bringing family members to occupy key positions. The man, our chairman, he left our financial article, another chair. On the other side, budget committee, you have two brothers. On the other side, you have sisters and power, everybody in the government. Those things man, it's frustrating. Jeremiah, I can feel your pain. Even me right here, I'm out of words. Go ahead, Professor. Let me unmute you, Professor. Sorry, you got small background.
So you know, I'm hearing Jeremiah and I'm laughing because it caught him today. We've been seeing this thing from a long time, talking about it. Nobody was seeing it from our point. Oh, the people in the just talking because on Philip's side. No, it's not a matter of Philip's side. It's a matter of seeing right and wrong and seeing what is best for all of us. Because at the end of the day, we all will suffer at the end of this nonsense that is going on. Everybody will be affected one way or the other. Once you are Liberian in Indianapolis, Indiana, you will be affected one way or the other. Nothing has been given to us. We don't know what, just see things. If they are telling us now, oh, Rose resigned because of family, fair. You want to bring people. I don't even think the government has even had a meeting with our cabinets. I don't think they have, because if they had, they would have reviewed these appointments. There is no way you can be running a government. There are people you want to bring on board. You do not tell the rest of the people about the people you want to bring on board, so everybody can give you an honest opinion about the people, and then you'll go from there. I think the president is just doing whatever he wants to do, and he told himself, he the president. Right now, he acting as Samuel Kayando.
Yeah.
I'm the president. I'll do what I say, and that's it. And he just doing it, and the people around him, at this point, I don't even know they know whether they're going or they're coming. But at the end of the day, he got to realize that when it get messed up, he will stand on his own. He will stand on his own. LAI is acting like her mom, Liberia. She is no different. You can tell that she is a Liberian, the way she acting. Nothing left out. All the learning she has seen in the diaspora, she have copied nothing. So she's doing just what her mom is doing. Fruit of the same apple coming right at us. The things we're running from, we're meeting it right here. A small community like this, we can't put our act together and do better for ourselves. No, this is just unfair. Unfair. And like Pasia said, the best thing Saba would have done is just not take the position. But I guess that's set up right now. Bala will step out and there's another person that they're willing to bring in. It's all in the background play. It's like a check. Let's put my pawn right here, and then Knight is going to threaten this pawn, and before you know it, their pawn will move and will have that space. It looks like that to me. Somebody else is in a Bala position.
Go ahead, Fasia.
No, but you know, Professor, it is not too late. It is not too late for her to step back.
We can hear you.
I don't think she will. Did you see how many compliments she accepted in it? She's excited. She just want to win. She's too excited right now. She's not going to step back.
Well, I mean, yeah, she and you know, I like to draw the neutral line. I like to play the devil's advocate. Yes, you know, when you get in, you get a new post, you are excited, rightfully so. But I think after listening to all, that we are saying and the recommendation, I'm pretty sure.
Fasia, it takes moral compass. It takes moral compass.
And she does have that.
Then we shall see.
She does have that.
We were looking forward for that because that's where it draws the line.
Wow.
So let's just hope, and Mr. President, we are appealing to you. I don't know what else to say. We are appealing to you. We want this community to flourish. Let's make it right. Let us make it right. We're human. To err is human. So no, we will not continue to fault you for that. But when you see that these mistakes are being made and then you don't want to make changes, then that's where the problem starts. Then this community will stay in a vacuum.
You are right.
We were in a vacuum. We came out of the vacuum. We went in a box. Now we need to get out of the box. But it seems like we're going back into the vacuum. So please, sit down with your cabinet. Post a position. I'm sure there are other people here who wants to take part in this community that are also qualified.
It's true. There are other qualified Liberians here.
But this particular post, there's too much that's under that small umbrella that the rain is not gonna, the umbrella is not gonna cover you from it's not gonna shield you from the rain. I mean, if you know what I'm saying. This is where, I don't care how big the umbrella is, when you come outside, that wind is so strong, it blows the umbrella away.
See the other joker here. Look at the other joker. What's his name? Joseph Pajibo. Who hate who? This guy is a joker. I want even start.
It's no hate. It's no hate at all. We are not saying that Siba is not qualified. That is not the point here. We're talking about the context of the appointment. That's what we are talking about.
Not to cut you off. Isn't that the same Pajibo who were at a meeting that day when his wife got you speaking? He was standing there saying, because he saw what happened to his wife, how they were sidelined, he was taking up side over there. We never got to know nothing but this. This is the same thing we're talking about. He said somebody hates the president.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because on the other side now.
Yeah.
It is the same Pajibo that he attempted fighting somebody the other night to one function because the person refused to open their organization up for new leadership or something. It's the same Pajibo who come in here again. Pajibo, don't make me to start, man. When we're talking serious thing here, don't make me to start with you yet. All right.
No one hates the government. Hey.
And you know that
everybody has come to wrap their arms around this government.
That's the big thing to say. You're attacking the government. You're hating it. We're attacking and hating.
It's true. And I even saw my little sister posted here. She said, there they are. The Liberian Association is not a country. Well, we ain't saying Liberian Association is a country. We know it's a 501c3 organization. But the structure in electing their officials, they make it to be a democratic process. People campaign and you go and look for whoever to lead you. And even during the campaign period, people are moving all around. If that voluntary job, you're coming to do something free. Why you just sit down to your heart and people come and elect you? If you know it's 501c3, it's just a free job. Why we got to pay you $80 to do flyer? Because it's voluntary. So why we paying you to do work? So, you've been all of the limelight a few times. We've been enjoying your little silent. We mean there now, mama. Don't count us as small now because most of the video they are deleted from the computer. You don't forget. Professor,
that was a good one. Don't let me bring up your video back. Oh my God. Oh, Lord.
Nobody going to research about any president. Nobody going to research about any president. We know the history of the Liberian Association. We have lived here for some time. So nobody got to go research for anybody. We right here. We see it glaring. So we ain't got to go reach out to the president. The president should be reaching out. The president should be saying what he know that can move the association forward. If the president making some wrong decision, you put that in his circle, telling him, oh, Mr. President, everything is okay. You're wrong. You are wrong.
Very wrong.
Tell the president in his face. You think what's I can look at my own friend, brother, Mr. Judah Parker, and tell him in his face.
Yep.
Patty, I just can't even stop my sister. Yeah. So you look at the president's face. Tell the president, Mr. President. They're just looking at I'm a minister for one government agency. Then you appoint my wife minister for another government agency. Then you say that you didn't talk about it. What's that? What's that? Well, this community is not like the past when my dear brother stepped down from being general secretary. You couldn't have people, nobody step up to become general secretary. But now you're willing to serve that community. What are the vacancies? And say, hey, this is what's happening. Who want to serve?
Why do they have the Sierra? Why? If they said they were going to be doing media thing, they were going to be disseminating information. Jeremiah Chair needs to come and answer this one. Why are these open vacancies not being advertised in the open room so people who can do the job can step up? And why are we even doing it that way? Why we're not doing a chain of command?
So what it lies in it? Anybody saying here, Pachivo? Nobody got to say lies about nobody. Nobody got to say lies about anybody. But Mr. Pachivo, I'm going to suspend your right to comment for 15 minutes. Because if you're not following the issue, you're thinking people are going to say lies on anything here, and you the appointments, we all know about the appointments. Family members serving, we know about it. We're only bringing it out that the president can sit down and say, well, before I make some of the appointments, I need to think better. You can be making emotional appointments, not because you saw two people fighting, then you say, okay, I'm going to appoint the other person to prove a point to the other person. Jeremiah Chie call. We're going to answer. Jeremiah Chie called. The reason I couldn't answer the first time because we were in the heat of the movement. We were having a conversation going on. So let's answer Jeremiah Chie, or I'm going to call him back. Then we will. I'm going to call Jeremiah Chie back because he think that we don't want to answer him. I'm calling Jeremiah Chie. So those of you listening, I'm calling Jeremiah Chie. He said we're not answering the call. Jeremiah Chie, answer the phone. All right. Jeremiah Chie declined because he knew what we're saying. That's the reality. And even he, Jeremiah Chie, if you were on the other side, I'm chairing one committee and my wife chairing another committee, he would say the same thing. So down about Morris, go out. Thank you for joining us, my dear brother. Go ahead, make your point. I think Sonny brought you all here. I know that. Mr. Welcome from Ezra.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, that's something like Sonny brought me, but I want to say thank you very much for making our community to grow, because these things improve our community. Some people will look at it in a negative form, but our morals look at it in a positive form, because when people speak their mind, it begin to grab and begin to learn. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thanks to all the ladies. Our mother, I want to say thank you very much. Yeah, I just came out to clarify some issues pertaining to the budget committee. You see, for the first day, when Parker called me and said, I'm trying to put you on the budget committee, I said, how many persons need to be on the budget committee? Every committee listing well. I asked how many persons need to be on the budget committee. They say, yeah, I think you want 8 persons. I'm mistaken. I can't remember the about 8 or 6. Yeah, either 8 or 5 or 6 between the I'm mistaken. So it takes long time. They reach out to me again. He said, oh, Omer Joba, the popular the co-chair for the budget for the inaugural board. He was the chairman for the budget committee. because of the saga, because of the corruption that the alleged corruption that the community begin to bring out.
They say working the government call that member corrupt.
Yeah, the alleged corruption that the community begin to bring out. So according to Paco, he
Mm-hmm.
say he don't want a position. So I asked Paco, who going to take the position? Because that time Paco told me to be on the budget committee. Now say I should be a coach.
Okay.
So from there, he say he asked Joseph to be a chairman. From there, then he said, I want for you to be a co-chair. So I asked him again. I said, this will not be embarrassment to you because you see, when people are dealing with people, you should understand that person mindset, you understand that person ideology. We all live in the same community, but we all don't think the same way. I want it's clear. So I began to ask him. I said, this will not be embarrassment to you. He said, this thing is a community service thing, this, that, blah. So he must have also reason with him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it makes sense because this is community service. Because at first I say this will be a conflict of interest, but he told me say this is a community service, and appointment not coming from your brother or your pa or coming from president that are not related to you.
Mm-hmm.
I said okay. Finally, when you make the appointment, then we begin to have a chat room. We were five. Let me see, one, two, three, we were six.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fatima and Richie
Mm-hmm.
was six, but one person left.
I
Right
heard,
now
I
we
heard,
five.
I heard John C. Akwe declined the position.
Yeah, yes, he declined. I don't know if he declined or what, but he left the chat room.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that he declined.
Yes. Okay. So now when they list, so they wanted for all to work. Joseph said we cannot work until we have the letter that will be given to us that we are in legit.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through the book. How you saw the name came up. But this is my point I came over to clarify. Logan,
Mm-hmm.
this is community service. One. Two, we just for elections.
True.
I left, I went against my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I joined you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it because I want to I want to gain favor, I want to do something.
True.
I did that because first I said, Logan must have the same ideology.
Mm-hmm.
The way Logan do things is similar with the way I do things. Because my concept go with this. If me and someone don't have the same concept or the same thinking, we cannot work together, we cannot move, I cannot follow you. Because I'm gonna follow somebody that I want to learn from them, then they want to learn from me. That is my policy in life. That I supported you. During the election, these are things I keep all the clarify. During the election, I was very, very suppressed. Because the same people are calling today,
Mm-hmm.
calling our names, they beg us to leave you behind the scene. They beg us to leave you. I know the thing are coming. I say I cannot compromise my integrity for free service. Free service that someone getting money for. I'm gonna damage my character. In Liberia, I refuse. People used to bring money to me, I refuse. I did business for more than 10 years. I did business without corruption. All me, I keep America.
Oh, wait.
What?
That's a breaking news. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I refuse. Sometimes when people have problem with people, they will let to shape it to another person because the person related to the person or the person friendly with the person. I talk of living, So when people begin to call to question our integrity, not only somebody that us, but somebody will think that that we did business, we did it when our outside of America.
Professor, when you're
Our
asking questions, you know, I just mute you because I get some a little cracky background noise. Oh, I'm muting you.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Maurice.
our
Maurice,
outside.
before you
Yeah.
go too far, I think Jeremiah was in the right place to question you because Joseph is
Yes.
and both of you serving on an integrity committee, which will bring about
Yes.
our interests.
Yes. But yes, and be questioning people also. People also know that person where that person comes from. Looking when people talking about you hear somebody connected on certain committee related to them, I should know the integrity.
True.
And more, there's a free service. I cannot compromise my integrity for free service. That tomorrow I will be seeing the community. Okay, if I want to compromise my integrity, I will win the election.
It's true.
I will win. People barely want to see. We'll have a conference call as you lead your team. Why did you compromise that? I will compromise budget, hearing or budget something because no, I will say it until Loki. That's why you see sometimes when it comes to me, I don't personally want to do. But one thing you should trust more for. I will never compromise my integrity because I want to do it to please myself. If I will compromise my integrity, it will be for everybody, but I'm married. So this is why I keep on here to clarify. If I refuse to compromise my character or my integrity during the election to leave you, I said, let me lose. I prefer to lose, but I can never leave Logan. If you guys cannot judge me based on that, why you judge me based on because my brother myself on the same budget committee and we doing free service? I don't need position. I just do that thing because if you run for certain position you lost and people in your head, it just because this is a free service. No, we should understand it's a free service.
Okay.
It's that what you should understand.
Okay, Mario, let me open it for the professor of Seattle to ask you one or two questions. You stay away.
Okay. Okay.
Morris.
Yeah.
Firstly, you are not the chair on that committee. You are the co-chair.
Yes.
Please remember that. So, in as much as you have your integrity that we've come to understand about you over the years, there will be some places that your hands will not reach because you are a co-chair. You are not the
Now,
chair.
blow now. Now begin to speak out. I resign. I leave.
But that's not how it
I
works.
always do. I always do. If something not working the right way, I will leave. It's me.
Morris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, firstly, if things not working, you're going to leave. If you got that mindset already and you get there, something happen, you're going to leave the position void. But I believe going into it, you got your own reservation already. Because if that
No.
Let me bring Jeremiah Chia in. Jeremiah Chia been calling. Let's hear from Jeremiah Chia. The man under the spotlight right now. Okay, I got Jeremiah Chia and Jeremiah Silly. So I'm going to merge the call. Jeremiah Chia and Jeremiah Silly, both of you be on at the same time. So I'll get Jeremiah Chia the chance to speak first. Then I'll go to Jeremiah Silly to conclude. So hold on, guys. Let me connect the call. Okay. Jeremiah Chia, you have the flow. Jeremiah Silly, just hold on a little.
Okay. Philip.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for the discussion. You see, these sort of discussions are food for the soul. But let me I call because I want to make one clarity. You see, all the panelists down there struck a point. But let me just call a spade a spade. These appointments were made at the sole prerogative of the president. Nobody coerced the president. Nobody asked the president, please do this or please do that. He thought in his wisdom make these appointments. First of all. Number two, when the former chairperson of the Ways, Means and Finance was in office, she was co-chaired by Mr. Kabar. They started off this whole thing and in doing the job, and which everybody appreciated. At some point in time, during the inauguration day, we heard things that she's going to quit, and we're like, "Hey man, please don't do this. Don't do this, or it's too early. Please don't do this." She said, "No, maybe for now, maybe I can't tell, but maybe later on in the future. But I don't know because maybe I got some, maybe family something." So right there, while I was there, because I was also on that committee, we were at the place at the bar. I said, "Mr. Kabara, what do you think?" You will next in line. If the chairperson quit, you are the next person who's supposed to assume this responsibility. You say, okay, man, I think I'm ready for that thing. Mr. Bala Kaba is a very fine gentleman. He's very intelligent, very honorable, very well versed, and very well known in the community. Then impressed. He reneged on that portfolio. He said, no, for now, I don't have the time, Jeremiah. I don't have the time to go about being the chairman for even the way I'm doing with the chairperson now, I'll prepare to fill in that gap. Now, after all this time, it takes a person or family or a person who believes in the potential of a person to bring a person up. Before you and I, Philip, came to this state, maybe you came to the States around 2015 or 2016 like that, but this person has been here half her life. She has been here for 22 years plus in this state, born all kids here, doing everything here, doing a job here, know the length and breadth of this place. If this time around she sees the need to step up to the front and say, okay, let me assist my community in another way. She's not going to be tampering with people's stuff and doing something. I'm not going to be saying this because I met her here. I met her here with you. You understand me? She has been a very reputable person in the community. So for her to step up once in her lifetime to want to give service, they think what is burdensome, what she will be taking over time, taking over schedule, cutting her PTOs to do stuff for the community. Is that something that we cannot appreciate? It could have been anybody who will wrap our hands around them. You understand me? Because look, for instance, I just joined your community a little under 3 years. And look where I am today. It takes somebody to bring somebody up, to put somebody, to expose somebody. It's all about community. That's the reason why when people get these win these elections, they call people. When people you can work.
So administratively, do you think that's a good practice to have you as a chair and have your wife as a chair?
I mean, we don't interfere. We don't interfere. It's a very good practice. At some point in time, people thought about legality. But when we go to legality, then we got to go constitutional. Because if you go into the Constitution, there's no disposition in the Constitution that tells you that this can happen or that can happen. Because if you look at the prerequisites of the appointments and all the people, all you need to have in order for you to form part of this community is that first thing, you must be a Liberian. You understand me? Those are Liberians we are talking about. Those are community dwellers here. They're not just dwelling here. They're not just squatting here. They live here. They've been living here for more than 2 decades. You understand me? So I think the place people are supposed to question people is when they don't deliver, not when they are appointed. When you appoint somebody, if they don't deliver, you think with all due consultation, Mr. Logan, you run a show. Yeah, I agree. It's being providing information for the community. But did you do your due diligence as a journalist to find out from Mr. Parker, to call him, to say, Mr. Parker, you did this appointment, or Mr. Balakaba, did they meet a consensus? When you were pushed on these issues before, or chairperson, or okay, they appointed Saba, you got Saba number, or did you call out to that journalist do background check and do fact finding? Were these things done in order so that other person can have hard feelings? No, it wasn't done. Just the other day, you and myself, we are in a private chat room. You are giving a certain responsibility. You say you have other things to do, so you leaving that place.
I resigned with a letter telling you and state that my letter of resignation.
Wait. We'll get to that point. You say you have something to do. So other people say, oh, because of my schedule, I have something to do. Somebody has to fill the gap.
It's true.
Somebody has to fill the gap. So Mr. Kaba was not overlooked as being speculated on this show. Mr. Kaba, you can place a call to him, and I guarantee you, he wasn't overlooked. He wasn't overlooked. In all fair manner, I think somebody has a terrible feedback down there.
Okay, go ahead.
He's a well-respected person in the community, and guess what? They will be working together again. They're working on the same team. People speculating that the man is going to resign. He's not going to resign. This man has service to give to this community. This man is a former presidential candidate. This man is man who has been here before. He wants to give his service. He wanted to. If Mr. Kaba didn't want to do that thing from the onset, Ms. Andrews wasn't going to be chairperson of Wisdom. If he wanted that portfolio, he would have gotten it from the onset. But because his schedule and other things, that's the reason why. So everything that's happening now in the community is strange because people questioning things now. But back then, people weren't questioning things. People want to talk about conflict of interest. There are president back then who have family members running in the same place. What did they collapse the organization? No. We have currently We have people serving in this government. It's not something that's different, that's strange, it's peculiar to only our circle.
Okay, so now you're saying to us because there's no constitutional provision that speak of that. So it means because I have 12 brothers, if I become president, I can appoint all of my brothers to all of the committee. That's a better thing to do.
Mr. Logan, if you had won this election, we'll be talking a different story.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Morally. No, listen to me. Listen to me. You will be talking a different story here today.
No.
You are going to be on the other side of the fence, on the other side of the equation, to questioning some of your opponents. So what you're doing is theoretical. It's something that's practical to everybody.
No. You said husband and wife playing a critical role. Being chair for one committee and chair for another committee is not a problem. It got no constitutional provision. So my point to you here, if I am the president, I have the right to appoint all of my brothers as committee chairs. That's not a problem.
First of all, Mr. Logan, if you become president of this community, the first thing you do, your first and foremost advisor is your wife. She's the one that when everybody goes home, she's the one that will be with you. She gives you the best advice.
Yeah.
Ever.
So you're trying to say so the president will advise you to appoint your wife?
No. Listen to me now. You don't conflict things. So someone advise you to also come on the show and spew things that are not true. Is that what you're telling me?
No. So I ask you a question.
No. Let's get to
because
I'm telling you
because the president wife is the last person who talked to him before the days come.
Yes.
So my point here is, if my wife is my secret advisor, that one obviously she will tell me, oh baby, this is not a right decision, but if you want to take the decision, go ahead.
It's in the best interest. It's in the best interest. It's in the best interest. This appointment is in the best interest. And you will see.
In the best interest of who?
Listen to me. In the community. It's in the best interest of the community.
Okay.
And guess what? People who are into entertainment in the community, people who are into showbiz in the community, people who are into gatherings in the community are all flocking this direction. You know why?
Why?
Because it brings to bear the thing that the community needs. This person has no whatsoever. Listen to me.
Say my wife. Say my wife. Because I will understand
it. Listen. I don't care.
Say my wife.
Listen, this person, besides me being a husband to her, she's being a professional in the community, and you know her for that.
I know.
For me coming into her life.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just about this man being a politician, maybe trying to inspire his wife. Say, listen to me. You can reach for the star. You can get whatever you want in this world. If you want to serve the community, she has been at the back burner while contributing to this community. And now somebody there to push her and say, look, you can serve the community. Who told you she was not serving in another subsidiary? In the listening government, on water, and doing something. I said, if you have that opportunity, go for it. And I support it and I stand by it.
Okay.
And that's the right decision ever in the whole wide world. Thank you.
But it have to be the right decision to you in the whole wide world. Go ahead, Mr. Jeremiah Silly. Go ahead, Mr. Silly.
How are you?
I'm okay, my brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I called back again, and I will basically follow my brother Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a politician. You gotta give that to him. He's a politician. He understands. He knows more up around this, and he understands. He put that introduction. He knows how to get around it. That's a plus for him. Once you know you're able to get into the president's mind and make the president and hypnotize the president and make him feel mesmerizing politically, and if you're a smart politician, the way it is not do you always get your will.
Yeah.
So that is something that I must commend him for, because when you listen to his expose and you listen to how he expanded, he said when Rose Andrews said she was going to resign, he told him where be the next in line. So he did a projection analysis. No, Jeremiah, you listen to me. I didn't tell my wife that she was next in line. I told Mr. Kaba he was next in line. Start shifting the conversation.
No, but Jeremiah,
been 2 minutes yet.
Jeremiah,
no.
Yeah, but you already make a point. You already make a point.
I know. You made a point when you call. Listen, don't shift the conversation. Millions of people. Listen to me. Yourself. You have millions of people following this show from around the world. You are talking to a politician. Don't twist my tune while I'm still on every life. I told you, Mr. Kabay and myself, we're going to see committee, and I told you, I said, Chief, you can go for this position if Rose resigns. Because that's what I'm hearing. But she's not resigning because we fought for the thing, and the woman is doing her job. We have a program coming up. That's before Valentine's. proposed program. I said they will already got a thing planned. So yeah, but he said, my man, no man, I think I want to do that. So Tom, Mr. Say that, baby. You okay?
Go ahead, Jeremiah Silly.
Having said that, I said previously that competency, I would never question about competency.
It's true, me too.
Back then, the things about them in the city, that's it. But the appointment was there's something we call morality and common conscience. That's what we're dealing with here. People question when I declined the president appointment as a former election commission. You saw what some of the reason why I did that. You know why I made that decision?
No.
I feel pleased in myself to go to bed. You can't be the referee. After refereeing a game, the next game you have my dream playing, you go wear jersey.
Yeah.
So even if people speculate their match there, in my own mind, I didn't think, but if I was going to take that position and validate everything, everybody get to say about me.
It's true.
So one of my analysis I did was Los Angeles showed a red flag about his inland. So once the appointment came, people who don't know all they validated Los Angeles because they had a change. That's one. That okay, these have been playing. Now, that's why I say the president who have sense about on any other committee. It could be one membership committee. There's so many committees, but that's an immediate vacancy. So until Barack can clarify that, we can talk about that. But again, secondly, I understand the point. I say he's a politician. I'll give him that because he understands the president. He understands how to manipulate the president's cycle and get his way.
That's what I'm saying. If a different person was making a point, I'm going to say something different. But Jeremiah,
he's successful in playing. And so how he was speaking there now on the show, he was trying to calm the tension down. Now, there's no problem. Even though Jeremiah said to other presidents have been putting their family, but Jeremiah cannot tell all the president meaning way happy.
Yeah.
You see it? So he leave on the Jeremiah said, you know, and Jeremiah said, you don't want to tell the community. You're the one who met yet. My late 2.5 years and things have been here now in your state. Now why you want to run behind me with it? Nobody will run to get together. Let me tell you, the first thing you didn't have an argument, throw it away and come out for it again. You gave the woman her qualification. Say she qualified for listening. So the only clarity you needed was this dude or the co-chairman consulted? Because I remember you remember Albert in my committee. Albert was consulted before I became chairman of that committee. You understand me? In fact, people in the opposition all recommended me when I was assistant secretary general when Mr. Kiri and the president appointed me assistant secretary general in a previous something. But then Juma was the chairperson, and when she left to go to the liaison, before she went to the liaison, I was at the liaison. They took me from the assistant secretary, sent me to the state as a liaison. Then later on, the president said, no, I think Juma is more open with the state affairs, she being a lawyer and all that. But
Jeremiah eating the man time.
My man, let me say something to you. When you eat, Philip, I pray that one day you become president, let me go apply to you for a job, then you tell me no, then you know whether you're speaking the time here. Every white job, we gotta go there and serve our community. You understand me? We will go there. I have a question, but after, please let me ask my question. Then when I land, I will leave the phone. Then you can answer my question before you leave. Okay, no problem, Chief. The president judgment, since he come to power, taking people from here, you put you to secretary, you try this more. No. Come go to RRC and BTA. Put the president here, then no. Put the president here. Put this president here, no. Why the president can't sit down with a cabinet and make a complete judgment every day? That's one. Okay, that's what I want to leave. You answer I leave.
Yeah.
Leaving.
Go ahead.
Lastly, what I want to say, what I want to say here is my brother Maury came about talking about integrity. The very most now I do business with him, you don't question my integrity, I don't question his integrity. But what I'm saying here is the issue of conflict of interest is nothing personal. It's nothing personal. We never question Maury's integrity on the show. I never question Joseph's integrity on the show. What I said was the president's judgment is a judgment appointment. So, my question is, if there's a conflict of interest, then he would not take any other person to put on budget committee for the opposition from anywhere else, because at the end of the day, the Joseph and Maurice work together. The very conflict issue of the and if Maurice was on the other side, he will question that. So he having an integrity, but conflicting with the reality and say, oh, this is not about scamming. We're not going to scam anybody, not going to even my money, nothing. But the fact that you and your immediate family is on a same committee as chair and co-chair, not even member, is a big issue that he should see, and nobody questioning his integrity. And he already said, he asked the president, is this not going to be a problem? Okay, first, the father already asked that question, he means he already located the problem. Okay, Jeremiah, thank you for your assertion. First of all, let me say let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. I will start from the second question you asked. The three gentlemen appointed by the president on that budget committee are some of the finest pieces you ever find in this community. Their integrity is impeccable. They are very articulate in how they handle their business, and they are very conspicuous enough to make sure that everything they'll put their hands to, they need a record to be clear, because they are the ones who can agitate for people's records to be clear, number one. Number two, Maurice Goa left this going election with the highest vote from the opposition. They brought up Ghana around 271 votes to tell you that people flocked to him, people went his way because they trust his ability and integrity. Not to mention Joseph Silly. His integrity is intact from the one to now. He's been serving this community forever. Now Mark Anthony has been on the back burner. He reluctantly decided that, oh, this time around, let me step up to the fray. Just as a mere member, say it has become an issue. Being a member because he has the financial background from back home, working in the Ministry of Finance. You understand me? So these gentlemen will put together, they're not testing it. Listen. The issue is not interest of interest that you try skipping that part. Listen, I'm addressing everything bit by bit. The conflict of interest that you try to ignite here is not there. Joseph Silly will not be here with his family and compromise his conflict of interest because of so thing. Joseph Silly is working to serve his community purely. So is Maki, so is Maurice Goa. These people, I don't see any conflict of interest there. I will never see any conflict of interest there. The that kingdom come because they are just serving this community to the best of their ability. Now, let me come to your comment about why the president will be moving people from here and there. He has that sole authority to move people from here, even send them back to Liberia to be anything they want to be.
Okay,
you know what I mean? He has that constitutional authority. First of all, you don't understand. The government is structured in a way that there are 6 persons who are supposed to run the government at the executive level, at the very highest level. The president, the vice president, the secretary general, the financial secretary. So I have a question. The parliamentarian. Wait. Let me clear that down first. Excuse me, Jeremiah. When the president asks question, you can't ask question when I'm trying to deliver, then you be interjecting. No. The first of the 5 key elected officials, they always have meetings before you see these things come up. Sometimes we are in a cabinet, we might not know who will be jittery. Oh, when the people will come out with this, when the people will come out with that, they will have the meeting before they can even meet us. Sometimes when they have the meeting, 2-3 meetings with all of them, whether it's online, whether it's in person, they will have these meetings before the appointments are done, before you see the Secretary General come and put up a press release. Before that press release comes up, which means things were done the way they should be done. They will handle. They will discuss it. If people don't just jump on one money and just put it, you know how it has been a long time coming for some slots to be filled, and now you complaining about Champlain. And you know Champlain is an elected position, but nobody put up candidate for that. And for that you have to buy election for that, or the president can come and ask the board, oh, so this thing has been like this. But we have several pastors, we have several churches, so we assume that maybe praying or whether we can have a Muslim volunteer or one Christian volunteer to do that for us at every giving program. That's cool. You understand me? So I don't know what people Jeremiah, don't ask about Champlain because you were there, you were commissioner. You didn't raise complaint about Champlain, you raise a complaint now on the show. You are election commissioner. You didn't see that gap?
All right.
You didn't see that gap.
All right.
You should start, as we accept everybody, even if they violate my gala, Oh, so you know there was a violation. So how can the president go against the constitution since there was a violation in your no, according to your own estimation, listen, you got to know that gap.
Okay, guys, Jeremiah,
the thing that made the discussion, Mr. Logan, thank you. What made the discussion fruitful is the fact that things that are done in the community are no longer kept way under the raw. They will be brought to book. But the only disappointment sometimes we do have is that so now maybe because you can want bring it and the exactitude and everything, the anxiety it brings to the table. People, I when I listen to the show, because me, I will not miss the show because I know the thing what I sign up for that I'm very interested now. Everybody will wear me. Yeah, we're going to practice with wear it. So I heard the professor say, "You man, I like to remind you, man." To Mr. Parker say, "If you're not a point, Sabah, I will resign." Do I have that power? The president can fire me right now on the show. Why on the show set? Because I have a permission. They fire me now, I lose my job now. Professor, you must do something for it. You see it? Because I don't have that power to do that. So, Mr. Logan, thank you for the show. At least it brought some clarity as it relates to how these things were made. And Mr. Sile, thank you for your contribution. And they got to call you all for the coming all over. You ain't coming all now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I see y'all.
Thank you so much. So that's Jeremiah Chia and Jeremiah Saleh. And you know, Jeremiah Chia is doing his work, as we know. Jeremiah Chia is the RSC chairperson. So normally when he come here, he come in defense. So we expect that he respond. So it's nothing new to what we've been discussing here. So let's go to our panelists here. I see Professor Pili getting tired for CL already. Like, I'm just gonna leave now. I don't know what to, and I just go back and forth.
Well, Philip, this is funny because Jeremiah is, you know, when we say Jeremiah, now we got to put a last name so they know which one of the Jeremiah we're talking about.
Chia or silly.
Jeremiah Chia said he believes that Saba is the right person at this time to be in a position. We did not expect him to say anything different than that. What we are saying is that he's in the government, working as a chair, and she coming on board as a chair. It doesn't look good morally. And he's saying that there's nowhere in the Constitution. We do agree. But when you ask him, if I'm president and I want to put 12 brothers in opposition, will that be right? He couldn't answer that because there's no rating somewhere where you can, if the person is qualified to do the job. But morally, we are in a society that some things you just can't do because of this back talking. At the end of the day, when they sit on their dining table to eat dinner, what are they going to talk about? LAI. Probably Sabah will not be able to cook anymore. She have to go do this LAI business. And if somebody giving her heat, he's supposed to be her protector. He's going to come to her defense. What does that make him? So I don't know what he's seeing it from, where he's not seeing it from. But the fact that this woman and you is connected in this way, and she's coming into this portion of government where you are also in this government, you're going to see what's going to happen. It's going to be different because there's no way you'll be able to separate yourself at some point in time. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, right. Pasiela, hear from you.
You know, both of the Jeremiahs, they have a way of work with words, you know.
Yeah.
But no one is questioning, you know, any of the appointees' qualifications. What we are talking about is the context and the conflict of interest. JC said that, you know, there's nowhere in the Constitution that says you cannot appoint, you know, relatives. Okay, so be it. But this conflict of interest is going to be a problem. It is going to be a problem. One way or the other down the line, it's going to be a problem. And then also when Morris came on and Professor said it, you know, or no, Jeremiah said it, Mr. Saleh, that the moment that he felt the need to ask the president, would this be okay, should have been his answer right there.
Yeah.
You know, that should have been the deciding factor in him accepting that post. Everyone that were appointed, they are, you know, qualified, well-respected people. We're not saying that they're not. It is just the moral factor, the principle involved is the problem that we have.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Well, we've been here for a long day now, so we're just gonna go around the table, Professor, and let's get our parting. Let's start with Fasia because Professor and myself started together. Fasia, let's get your parting. So
Well,
before
again,
before we
go
can get
ahead.
your parting, we want to say again to our brother Joseph Sule Jr. Today your birthday. Enjoy your birthday, and we wish you God's blessing. Tomorrow is Mr. Tito Harris' birthday. Mr. Elisha Harris, we also want to say happy birthday to you, and also celebrating Grand Style. And those of you, okay, I have Mr. Jeevan Smith calling. Let me just bring him on because he's called the soft king now. Go ahead, my dear brother.
Mr. Logan, thanks for accepting my call. And
Thank you so much too for coming on.
yeah, I follow a long part of it. As you guys talking about your appointments and everything else that going on in the community.
You got your windshield down?
You know.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for that. It's laughable. Not laughable because we are questioning the qualifications of this involved. 100% qualified. Let me give a common context. If I have an issue with Mr. Jeremiah Chie, serious issue, and then something happens to me in this community, you think his wife will go ahead as a wisdom media to reach out to me to be able to advertise or to let the community know what's going on with me?
No.
Don't you think somebody will even say, hey, Jeremiah Chie, I a woman that you like, she achieved in the community for a long time. You know, between them. You know, people, those are rumors that people try to avoid, right? But and that's why the conflict of interest will be questioning. But Jeremiah Chie, I don't blame him because if he say anything negative about his wife, he knows he'll be sleeping on the couch. So he has all right to come up with that strong defense. And like Celine said, he's a politician. He's very good with words. I'll give him that. You can disagree with the statement, but you cannot disagree with the facts. The facts that we are facing in this community is that everything we are failing to acknowledge that everything rises and falls with the head. The head is the one that's dragging it down. He's intentionally bringing division in this community. When people start raising the alarm, South side, West side, East side, and he remains mute, and Jeremiah Chie inadvertently acknowledged when he said that he wasn't giving permission to speak. So the rumor that the Parker has told his people to not come out and speak to the community, it was already proven. Jeremiah Chie already acknowledged that openly. So he's telling that the community, let him talk because he Parker is going in his school step and keep telling him, let him talk because it's still anchored over election. That's the kind of leadership we are faced with in this community. It's happening now. Council of churches and elders are not coming to talk. Tomorrow, when the issue break up, then they will try to muster some courage to say, let's call all the parties involved to talk. It will be too late because at that point in time, it should be a prayer that some of us should not be involved or should not be active. Because if it is, there will be no peace because you've seen the fire, you've seen the smoke, and you put your hands underneath your legs. And then when the fire come out, then you want to come running with a fire extinguisher and waving wet flag. It would not work. We are tired. This is things that happen in our country, Nigeria, and these are single things that is happening right now. I will close on this. We should expect more of this. We should expect more family members to come in there because they are afraid, only exhibit that they are afraid of criticism. They are afraid of disagreement when real issues come about. The real issue is still, even when we're asking, we should not let to rest, and we'll not be let to rest, is the issue with the money and the budget for the inaugural community report.
It's true.
Jeremiah Chase said they have a meeting. My question would be is, all the meetings you're having, are you guys giving people gas money? Because according to the inaugural committee, it has become a practice that when someone goes for something, drive anywhere for the community to get gas money. Are you going to report this to the community? Because as far as I'm concerned now, it's a common practice. And when someone in the show said it's a free community team, no, it's not a free community team. If you design a plan, you get paid for it. It's not a free team anymore.
No,
it's not voluntary team. People are getting paid. So definitely, I will start to question: are people pushing the other family members in a position so they can get paid to serve the community? That's an open question I would like the Parker to come and address. Because what else? Hey, Mistress Boya and Mistress Parker, they can serve in community too. They can serve in positions, and we just be here.
You're all right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, my dear brother G-Phone. So that was G-Phone Smith, the tough talking. So let's go to Ifatia. Let's get our party. It's already 9:22.
Well, I've said pretty much everything, that was needed to be said. I think that it's a huge conflict of interest in these appointees, and they should take a second look at it. We're not saying that the people are not qualified. They are all well qualified. But when you are appointing, family members, it's going to be a problem. And this community is too small. So, Mr. President, we're asking you again to just take a look at, at this situation. Maybe, Philip, you need to bring the president on so he can answer some questions.
But now, I think the best thing you guys can do is say you guys run TGIF. You can invite the president on your platform.
Well, it's not a political show.
Yeah, but just to talk about community matter. Ask the president business question. Anyway, it's not a political show, but just ask the president question about the community.
No, it will turn. Because our political side will come out. No.
Anyway, I respect it. I respect that. But now, why you both of you here, you can send a request to the president right now. Invite that, Mr. President, can you appear to speak to the community again? It can either be on an open table, it can be on a Logan tower. It doesn't matter. But we just be here for the president or the vice president, secretary general. We want to hear from somebody what's going on. Because when you live out in a state where the people who are supposed to govern us, they are not anywhere to be seen, you expect the people to govern themselves. And that's why you see happening right now.
Yeah.
So the president need to come out. The president need to say something. The vice president need to say something. Yeah, trust me.
It looks like the whole community has to bring down for the president to come.
That strategy from the workshop where they say you're just out of boo, nobody might talk nothing. That's a bad strategy because it means we will control the narrative. If few people cannot control it. Yep.
And Jeremiah said it right. He said the professor said I the one who poking the president, telling the president who to choose. Yes, if I don't know what's going on, I can choose what I want to say. And that's exactly it is the way with everything else. If the president doesn't come out and address situation, we will assume what we want to assume. But it may not be a fact. But he's the one that can give other facts and clarify. If he's not doing it, we will direct the narratives.
So if they decide they will not speak to us, they can answer any question for us. The reason why I always talking because I can pay my dues. And because my money is in there, they say put your money where your money is. So if they can do it, then I can use different people who can ask them for the document and people get all the information we want.
They're pushing us to that point.
Yeah.
No, I think the president will do the right thing. I trust that he will do the right thing.
All right. So, Mr. President, if you're listening right now, we're reaching out to you again. The community would love to hear from you. So, whatever at your own availability, the community will be. If you want to show on Sunday, we'll have you on Sunday. You want it on Thursday, we'll have you. Anything
you can bring your own, you can bring your own camera, you can bring your own everything.
Everything, Mr. Host and Mr. President, you can come with whoever person you think want to host you. Just the community want to hear from you, want to ask you the necessary question, especially on the inaugural committee. The inaugural committee chairperson for the other day, the truth will be revealed soon. So my point and my concern was, I was a little confused. I said, so all along we thought what was the truth? It's not the truth. The truth is yet to come. Oh yes, but you saw her post the other day. I put it in my. The truth will be revealed soon. There they are. Don't be alarmed. So I said, well, we went to emergency meeting. We went to another general meeting. The truth have been hidden. So now she about to bring the truth. So we look forward to this meeting that coming on when? On the 23rd. I hope we can climax the whole discussion on the 23rd, and let's move forward and let's start pulling for the July 26th.
I know.
Because if we do not address the thing on the 23rd, we ain't got no more meeting again in June. The next meeting that's June 25th. So the president,
and there will be no proper planning. They'll be siphoning money out of the account and saying the people have to go book the hall in advance because they couldn't get no here or take. But you holding up everything. So I don't know if they're seeing all these things. I don't know. If there's even a July 26th committee set up, but now they're supposed to be saying something to him like, okay, we need to start putting our plans into the works.
Mr. Sabina saying something here. He said the people use money for the workshop. I don't know if that's true. Because if that workshop money was $100 or $150 or whatever, I think they could just put that money together for themselves and that voluntary thing was doing here.
No, they just take money from the account and do what they want to do.
So then who approves that?
Well, since the first day they took money without even letting the body know about it, it has become a favorite act. So they just doing it now.
I can't believe that the financial secretary signed this and they got check for this money though. I don't want to believe that because I trust her. So I want everyone on any kind of thing right now. Because I trust the financial secretary.
The financial secretary right now don't know if she's going or she's coming.
Anyway, we're about to close the show. I give her a party, I can start a conversation. Yeah.
I want you're talking about my financial secretary. Okay, I'm going to back her up. Yeah, I'm talking about my financial secretary.
That's why we haven't going that far. We're just coming in our show right now. But trust me, it was a real nice one today. At least Jeremiah Chia came up and broke the silence. Since they told her not to talk, Jeremiah Chia is the only one who brave that can talk. Everybody kept mute. And that's a good thing. We're waiting for them.
And you know what, Philip? That's why I told Jeremiah the other day on the show. I said, Jeremiah, you a voice that we listen to. So be very careful what you say. Don't let nobody compromise your integrity because we want to say Jeremiah said it and believe it. But by the time you start talking and just talking because you want to talk, we'll start looking at you with one eye and we'll put you in one corner and say, don't mind him. He just talked because he want to talk. But he's thinking about it. And when he come on, he say what he got to say. I know tonight was tough for him because the situation is home front. It is now in his house on his dining table. It's not just about his job. So I feel with him. I feel with him. You know, I feel
trust me. Because at certain point in time, if you're dealing with me, I can stand it. But now y'all gotta be dealing with me, then you're dealing with my wife again. That's a real trouble in the home. I can say that for sure. Because
and you know when the people come for you, they bring a warehouse and they bring a truck to pick you up. So now I don't know what he's gonna do.
Oh yeah. But Jeremiah, I want to say thank you for breaking the silence. Since they both told you people not to speak or anything, we really do appreciate you breaking the silence here tonight.
I like Jeremiah because he's somebody who's outspoken and he always want to speak. And I can tell you, if they do anything to crush his voice, he will not be who he is. So I hope they will not tamper with that part of him.
Then what happened to our tough talking Brenny Alpha? To talk government, John and government said don't speak Brenny to Bobo too. What happened here?
Liberian attitude, right? That's how we silence you. We get you job in the government, we shut your mouth.
But if the government give me job, tell me to be Bobo, I will resign.
Oh, of course.
I will resign.
That's what moral compass will do. If you don't have it, it's a whole different story.
Brandy, is what happened to you? The government give you job, take that thought too. You know, and you know that the bar for the workshop was so good, but I think they needed to bring foreign speakers. People that
Oh,
outside the Liberian community to talk to them. But they use the same people on the boat to teach them in the workshop about how to lead. At the end of the day, they see Papa, then what's scared of all the trouble here ahead. I can't press up.
Excuse me, because I heard my name, so I had to dial in real quick. I've been busy. I'm never a boo because understand anything I have to say, I will say it. So, but I've been working out around the hour, so I just be listening. But don't worry, I'm
okay.
never silent.
You know
press
I'm
up.
counting on you.
I press up. Just say, hell no, that need. I give me that need.
No.
Oh, no. But thank you.
I
You
think
for
this was
sharing your faith.
the fastest I came on the show.
Oh, yeah. Very fast. Very fast. But Freddie,
Yes,
what
but
we can hear from you
while
anymore.
I'm here, I would just like to say that we will be posting our next event, maybe by the end of the night or in the morning for the youth and sports. And so I want everybody to look out for it. We will come back on to explain more about it. But please watch out. It will be a nice event for the community. Everybody can come out, support, have fun. Something different. I mean, not different in the aspect of what's going on, but just different for the community as a whole. That will be, showcasing.
The youth and sport department is ready again. Anyway, thank you so much, Brandy. Thank you so much. We really appreciate
We always ready.
the way you
The
jump in.
only working arm in the government.
We really appreciate it. So like, we got to put a zip fire on the vice president, but the vice president to just click on the link to account on one deal. Somebody asking you, Brandy.
Okay, well, thanks for having me.
No,
I got to get back.
Answer Jeremiah today question. You said
What's
what's your
our budget for the program coming up?
Yeah.
I'm not
Anyway.
allowed to answer these questions.
I
No.
Go ahead.
I mean, the budget, we already submitted our stuff, so, we are just waiting on the next floor of things. But we still have to do our work with or without the budget, so we are working.
Peter Howard and speculate. You see that 7,000.
7,000. But just know if we take 7,000, we bring it back some money.
Oh God, Jeremiah silly stop Jeremiah said the VPS are opaca.
That's just a burger.
Jeremiah silly, I swear. Oh God. Yes, stop, man. All right. So thank you so much, Brittany Alpha. But I understand Jeremiah trying to push you about budget, but I like the way you sticking to what you will discuss in the workshop. Don't say nothing.
This is not the case. This case is just the fact that we are waiting, so I cannot speculate and be wrong.
That's true.
Because everything. I'm on record, so I have to say exactly what's going on.
I really do appreciate it. And we look forward to having you and your chairman here as well. So let's discuss the issue. And we are hoping that other communities, if they're having issues, they can come up here and talk to the community, or even go open to and talk to the community. That's why I've been trying to reach out to the inaugural community to kind of break the silence, but like everybody say you call a fool with you. Freddie, thank you so much, y'all. Thank you so much. At least broke the silence.
All right, you guys have a good day.
On the board, so she went on the show for you. Freddie. Oh God. Yeah, let's do our party.
I know, Philip, but in it all, I really do hope that word get around like it really do, and somebody will whisper in the president's ear. And even if he having meeting with his cabinet, as Jeremiah Chair stated, that when these positions come open, they discuss it. Well, it's a good thing to discuss it, but can you open it to the LAI community? Every member of this community is qualified. Because if you go by qualification for the job, nobody will be qualified because nobody is working in their expertise. But the mere fact that you are Liberian and you are in Indiana, you are qualified. So everybody is qualified to do the job. But when it comes to certain things, then we rely on moral compasses to guide our way. What is not a norm to be done in society, don't try to practice it. Don't try to bring to us or rub in our face those things that shouldn't be. And we backfire and say, oh, these people are always criticizing. These people are always talking. No. If you do good, we'll say you do good. Especially that I found out that the president is Gribble. If you do good at me, will be on here and say, boy, oh, keep on the good work. But if he doesn't do good, what we gonna say? At the end of the day, we want the best for this community. We don't want anybody to feel harassed, pressure, or put into working for this community. But when you do it the wrong way, we will start to criticize the act, not the person. The person in the position now will feel that we are criticizing them. But it's not about it's the act. So I don't know how he's gonna work it out. I don't know how he's gonna do it. But right now, this one is look like really coming to roost. We got family members everywhere we turn now, so we don't know how things is gonna play out. Morris Sky integrity, we know that. Joseph have full integrity, we know that. But the mere fact that they are family, we cannot rule out any possibilities. We cannot. And especially working with budget, we cannot. We can't look away. For the fact that Jeremiah Chair is IRC chair and now his wife is Ways and Means, trust me, if one person makes somebody vex, it's a couple thing. They're gonna be having problem. I don't know what he's talking about, but hopefully, when they sit down to dinner table tonight, they will talk about it again, and she will say, "I'm gonna do this job because I want to do it." Fine, we ain't got no problem with it, but you stand the heat that's coming from this kitchen, because at the end of the day, if we come for your husband, you want to support him. If we come for you, your husband want to support you. But the fact remains that you're government workers now. You're working in the community, and that's where it's going to be a conflict of interest. So I pray and hope that light will come better and people will understand their duties. And the president and his whole cabinet, who Jeremiah's chair has told us is aware of all these appointees. And one thing he made mention was Bala said he's not able to do the job as the chair
at the time because he had other engagements.
So what meaning I don't understand. He's not able to do the job as the chair at the time, but he's able to do the co-chair job.
I'll reach out to him. That would be a nice one.
I don't understand. You're able to do co-chair job, but you can't do chair job. So when the chair is not there, who's supposed to do the job? You will say, no, I still ain't got the time. Then why did you take the position in the first place if you don't have time?
Yeah, I already closing. I already made it clarity, brother. All right, so those are you following us, we want to say thank you. I know you people saw this flyer, and it's supposed to be on Saturday, April 1. But you people forgot to take a closer look at the bottom of the flyer. At the bottom of the flyer, say please be reminded that April 1 is April Fool Day. So now that you took a closer look on this flyer to see April 1 is April Fool Day. So that was a big April Fool. I intended to put Josh we are picking up, but a lot of you know Josh we do not go on show, so you're gonna say, oh, that one I big. But the vice president was a good one. That was a good kid. And on Saturday was a white party, and we already have fun at the white party. The Liberian people turned up. We want to say thanks to everyone who went at the white party. And Mr. Peter Howard and Mr. Balakaba, you see, the white party was successful. We have fun. Mr. Peter Howard, thank you. And my beautiful wife was also there. And came out from the white party. She's not doing well, and I wish us good recovery. Tomorrow is the birthday of the former vice president, sweetheart, Elisha Tito Harris. Tomorrow, your birthday, celebrate in love as well, to my brother. So, until we meet again, Pascal, you got anything to say?
That's it.
That's it.
Hey, tune in this Friday.
Yes.
For Thank God Fabulous. And the topic for this week is career choices. We have some fabulous people, guests that's going to be joining us, and you going to be wow.
Don't forget, send it to
Women
me
who
quick so we
like
can free up.
clothes, you need to watch because you will see something that will amaze you. So please come on
Bring-
Friday, watch
Ah,
the show, and have a
somebody
good.
will close this person coming close the show for us. So after the person, we will just leave. Oh God, what a person! Come on, just a second. The person coming close the show for us. Who can leave?
And we just want to extend our thank you to the community for supporting the show.
Go
Please,
ahead.
please send in any
Yeah.
comments or information that you want us to talk about. Thank you.
Yeah, and also those who reached out to Olivia and supported her, thank you so much. We appreciate it. She did call back to let us know that people call her and people render assistance to her. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. We look forward to seeing y'all on Friday. Thank God
Yeah.
it's Friday.
Thank God it's fabulous.
Thank God it's fabulous.
Yes.
All right, Professor. Okay, Fasia.
Thank you, Philip.
Good night.
Good night.
So that was it. We had a Professor Willa Pillay and we have a Sister Fasia Hilton here, making it good for us tonight. But those of you who always follow us, we want to say thank you for joining us again. Those of you who join us secretly, I know, we want to say thank you. I saw a lot of you who normally join secretly, getting a device now to grab all the secret people who can join us. And I want to say to our brother again, Joseph Saleh Jr., happy birthday. Elisha Harris, we want to say happy pre-birthday. You got a few more hours to your birthday. And all of you who here today, and sometimes when we on your name, you feel we against you or we hate you. We don't hate. All we have in our heart for you people is love. But we just have to discuss the issue. So if you think we hate is a powerful word. We do not hate another creature. Everybody was created by God. Why should we hate community positions? What the position doing for you so far? We're just speaking on some of the issues. And we know it never happened before. It cannot happen. So we want to say thank you to all of you for joining us. And it was a real good show. And thanks to Mr. Peter Howard, Mr. Balakaba for organizing this web party. And I think those of you in administration too need to attend your friend on a program because when you're having program, you want people come there. When people having program, you need to go there. Even the education committee had a program, or the administration program show up. Youth chair having some administration program show up. What kind of administration program here? Then when you're having something, y'all go there. But I know with a different topic for a different day. Until we meet again, my name is Philip. So you guys got with Taylor Logan. It was a pleasing pleasure to serve you today. And I look forward to seeing you again on Thursday. And Thursday going to be very stimulating topics. And all of you can rest assured we will do our best to keep this community safe. And love everybody. Do not hate nobody. And those of you who think people hate you, it's your mindset. If you do not hate anybody, all you know is people love you. Even I sit here, I don't hate. So I never believe that anybody hates me. That's why the other day when I heard that people were having a secret meeting behind me, I blew it up because I don't keep anything I had. This is who I am. I'm an August 8 born and I'm a Leo. I'm a lion. I'm not afraid of any other animal. I'm the king of the jungle. Until we meet again. Bye-bye.